This page is the cover of an issue from August 1992, featuring a vibrant, abstract design with Sonic the Hedgehog riding a rocket alongside a quirky character on a planet. It's packed with announcements and features for the Mega Drive and Mega CD. Big news headlining the cover is the official announcement of Sonic 2, undoubtedly the most anticipated game of the year. The magazine also highlights major upcoming titles like Thunder Force IV, Splatterhouse Part 2, Chernobyl, and Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. For the Mega CD, they cover releases such as 3x3 Eyes, Afterburner 2i, Thunderstorm FX, and Rise of the Dragon. Upcoming heavy hitters like Landstalker, the Climax 16 MBIT title, and Phantasy Star IV are also teased. The issue includes double appendices, a Wonder Mega Handbook, and something related to the game Twinkletail. The central theme asks, is Sega burning this summer? With features covering the Toy Show, CES report, and a Japanese Mega Drive magazine roundtable discussion, providing a broad look at the gaming landscape and Sega's plans. It's a snapshot of an exciting time for the platform. This page is a striking announcement piece, dominated by large green Japanese characters proclaiming, "Special Report." It serves as a dedicated feature page for the upcoming Mega Drive title, Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. The page prominently displays the game's title in both Japanese and its international English name, alongside the distinctive game logo featuring a laurel wreath and the Roman numeral 2. Details regarding the Japanese release are provided, including the release date of July 17th and the price of 7,800 yen. The page includes the Sega logo and features Sonic the Hedgehog, reinforcing its connection to the Sega brand and platform, echoing the anticipation for this title mentioned on the magazine's cover. This page features a large portrait of the legendary Formula One driver, Ayrton Senna, serving as a striking promotional piece for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. The bold red text vertically on the right declares, "Racing realism, perfected." Senna himself provides a quote, highlighting the excitement of the game's circuits, championship mode, and his own input, inviting players to experience his thoughts and memories. The text on the left announces the return of the game, emphasizing Senna's full supervision and advice in its development. It highlights the ability to race on 16 Grand Prix circuits and original courses designed by Senna, suggesting the game captures the feeling of being an F1 driver. Small screenshots at the bottom display gameplay footage, illustrating the racing action. This page effectively leverages Senna's star power and direct involvement to promote the game's authenticity and thrilling experience. This page showcases a series of striking cinematic images from Wolf Team's action title, Sol de Mice. Arranged in an irregular grid at the top, these screenshots depict various intense moments from the game's cutscenes, including a clandestine control room, a helicopter taking off, jungle environments, dramatic explosions, an aerial view of a city, a figure fleeing through fire, and a scene over rough seas. Set against a detailed nighttime backdrop featuring the New York City skyline, complete with the illuminated World Trade Center towers and the Statue of Liberty, the presentation emphasizes the game's ambitious visual style and dramatic flair. At the bottom left, the distinctive Wolf Team logo is displayed alongside their contact address, indicating this page serves as a showcase for the developers' work, highlighting their capability for creating cinematic experiences on the platform through the impressive FMV sequences featured in Sol Dice. This page features Thunderstorm FX, a 3D virtual shooting title for the Sega CD from Wolf Team, the developers behind Sol Dice. The game is promoted as challenging the limits of the Mega CD hardware, boasting extensive graphics with 10,000 assets and full anime sequences. It highlights advanced features like 3D sound, specifically noting the use of binaural audio technology. The premise centers on a one-man peacekeeping force utilizing the latest LX3FX vehicle to resolve conflicts. Screenshots showcase dramatic, cinematic FMV sequences and in-game action, reflecting the game's emphasis on visual presentation and technology. Thunderstorm FX was scheduled for release in late August 1992. This page presents the iconic artwork for the Sega CD-RPG masterpiece, Lunar, the Silver Star. The striking image features the game's main characters and adversaries, including the heroine Luna, the male lead Alex, and the menacing figure of Galeon. The background highlights the game's fantasy setting, set against the titular Silver Star. This title was a flagship release for the Sega CD, developed by GameArts, renowned for its high production values, including full voice acting, anime cutscenes, and a sweeping musical score. The page indicates it was a Sega CD exclusive, and lists the standard price of 7,800 yen before tax. This artwork perfectly captures the blend of adventure, drama, and fantasy that made Lunar a beloved classic among early Cardrom console games. This page displays the impressive artwork for the acclaimed Sega CD RPG, Lunar, the Silver Star. The central illustration features the game's core cast, led by the young adventurer Alex in the foreground, with his childhood friend Luna, the merchant Ramus, the mage Nash, the warrior Jessica, and the rogue Kyle positioned behind him. The dramatic background includes a colossal sword and shadowed structures, hinting at the grand scale of their adventure. Below the main art, 3 screenshots offer snapshots of the game's various modes, exploring a town, traversing the world map, and engaging in tactical turn-based combat. Clearly marked as a Sega CD exclusive, the page credits the illustration to Toshiyuki Kubuka, and the development to the renowned partnership of Game Arts and Studio Alex, creators celebrated for bringing high-quality, story-driven RPG experiences to the platform. This page showcases dynamic artwork from the sci-fi anime series, Detonator Organ. The central image features the main male character, Tomoru, looking determined alongside a female character with bright pink hair. Behind them looms the impressive white mecha, Organ, which plays a pivotal role in the story. The text explains the premise. In the late 23rd century, an alien life form known as Ivali begins its invasion of Earth, pushing humanity to the brink of extinction. Amidst this crisis, the Organ mecha appears before Tomoru. The narrative delves into why Organ chose him, and the true intentions behind both Organ and the Ivali. The page also lists the availability of the anime as an original video animation, OVA, across 3 volumes on VHS and Laserdisc, which were well received. Furthermore, it mentions a novel adaptation of Detonator Organ was also published and selling well, indicating the franchise's popularity. This page features 2 upcoming games from publisher Hot B. On the left is Detonator Organ for the Mega CD, based on the popular OVA anime series. It boasts full animation sequences, an original story, and promises the birth of the strongest hero in history. This adaptation expands upon the anime's universe, featuring original characters. The game is set to release on July 31st for 7,800 yen plus tax. On the right, for the standard Mega Drive, is the King Salmon. This is highlighted as the Mega Drive's first fishing simulation game, challenging players to aim for the world record. The text mentions realistic king salmon trolling, exciting fight scenes from a unique perspective, and beautiful animation for various events. The King Salmon is slated for a year-end release at a price of 6,800 yen plus tax. Both titles showcase Hot B's diverse range, bringing both animated sci-fi action and realistic sports simulation to Sega platforms. This page features an upcoming title for the Mega Drive from Kodansha Suken, titled Maten no Sumetsu, or Demonic Heaven's Creation and Destruction. It's scheduled for a September release, although the price is currently undecided. The game boasts an 8 Mega Room cartridge with battery backup for saving progress. The image depicts a character holding a small red creature, framed by an ornate structure that reflects a large, dark, winged entity. The text provides a summary of the game's story. It describes a world dominated by darkness and silence, where a man named Zafon von Roh encounters a mysterious creature that falls from the sky. This creature is an infant with angelic wings, which Zafon adopts and names Almanas. 16 years pass, and monsters begin appearing, causing the world to descend into chaos. Zafon is ordered by the king to investigate the cause. One night, Zafon returns home gravely wounded, and passes on his will to Almanas before dying. Alcanis then journeys to the king, learns about the state of the world and his father's legacy, and decides to embark on a quest. Along the way, he meets his childhood friend Lilith, and other allies who lend him their strength. The story follows Alcanis as he overcomes numerous bizarre events and crises. The text asks about Alcanis's destiny and the identity of those who await him, setting up a compelling narrative for this RPG. This page continues the feature on Maten no Sumetsu, an upcoming RPG for the Mega Drive. The striking artwork shows the protagonist, Oninas, alongside a winged creature, gazing into an ornate mirror. The mirror's reflection reveals a colossal, dark, winged figure looming in a desolate landscape, representing the mysterious shadow mentioned in the text. The large Japanese text dramatically asks, "Alnas, who is the shadow standing behind you?" This powerful tagline directly relates to the game's premise, building intrigue around the source of the chaos and monsters appearing in the world, and the identity of the entity threatening Alnaz and his quest. This page features the exciting return of the arcade classic, Afterburner II, coming to the Mega CD. The striking artwork showcases fighter jets in action, promising intense aerial combat. The developers boldly claim that, for this masterpiece, catchphrases aren't even necessary, highlighting 4 key features. These include realistic cockpit views for thrilling dogfights, utilizing the MegaDrive's full power for hypersound and realistic graphics, a dynamic cockpit system that adjusts with the player's viewpoint, and quick control over the Afterburner via the throttle. Afterburner II is scheduled for release in August, priced at 8,400 yen, with an FM Towns version also planned. Additionally, there's a small section promoting Speedball 2 for the standard Mega Drive, noted as selling exceptionally well, available on a 4 Mega Room cartridge for 6,800 yen. This page introduces the unique strategy simulation game, Darina Brothers. Promoted as a completely new and comical take on the genre, the game features super cute dinosaur characters like Terrano, Aro, Baichen, Torikera, and Sutego, and simulates a world of survival of the fittest with a food chain ecosystem. Key features highlighted include dynamic maps, strategic depth influenced by each character's personality, and even a training mode to help players learn the rules. Adding a unique twist, the game was supervised by game-loving psychiatrist Miss Rika Kayama, who is featured with her photo. Darina Brothers is scheduled for release on July 24th as an 8 Mega Room simulation game, priced at 8,800 yen. A small section also notes that Galaxy Force 2 is popularly on sale for 8,400 yen. This page features a preview for Junkers High, a futuristic 3D racing game developed by staff who previously worked on the Mega Drive version of Outrun. Set in a futuristic city with elevated highways, the game promises a revolutionary sense of speed, stated to be 120% faster than their previous efforts, offering a feeling akin to a roller coaster ride. The courses are designed with various branching paths to keep gameplay exciting and include dynamic elements like tunnels, hidden routes, jump ramps, and even pitfalls, providing a thrilling, non-stop experience. The game is equipped with 8 Mega Room and battery backup, allowing players to save replays and track all their time records, enabling competition for the best times. The visuals showcase a sleek, futuristic vehicle navigating vibrant, detailed cityscapes and track structures. Junkers High was scheduled for release in August 1992 on the Sega Mega Drive. This page features the fantasy simulation game, Royal Blood, from Koei. The striking illustration depicts a monstrous creature and a wizard, hinting at the game's fantasy setting. The text introduces the world of Ishumeria, a realm where monsters and humans coexist, now threatened by the evil king Isol's Piglet. Players step into the shoes of young nobles who must rise up, utilizing the power of the legendary crown, the Royal Blood, to bring peace back to the land and rescue a captive princess. The page highlights the simulation gameplay through screenshots, showcasing a strategic map view and tactical battle scenes. Royal Blood, known for its depth and fantasy elements, is presented here as a power-up release for the Sega Mega Drive. The page also provides pricing details for the Mega Drive version, and related items like a handbook and soundtrack. This page features Kaneko's fighting game, Power Athlete, coming to both the Mega Drive and Super Famicom. The artwork prominently displays several fighters, giving a glimpse of the game's roster and intense atmosphere. Below, multiple screenshots highlight the action-packed one-on-one battles, showcasing diverse environments ranging from serene lakesides to urban settings and elaborate temples. The text emphasizes the game's realistic character movements and vibrant action, promising a thrilling fighting experience with plenty of special techniques for each combatant. Described as a contender for the year's strongest fighting game, Power Athlete encourages players to take on increasingly powerful opponents for maximum challenge and fun. The Mega Drive version is noted as an 8 meg cartridge, with the game aiming for a late November release, though the price is still undecided. This page features the Mega Drive adventure game adaptation of the popular anime and manga series, Patlabor. Titled Mobile Police Patlabor, Command the Type 98, the page focuses on the protagonist's first deployment of the iconic Type 98th Avenue Ingram. The large illustration captures the powerful mecha in action, while screenshots showcase the game's interface, typical of adventure games, with text dialogues and character portraits. The summary text sets the scene. An emergency arises in Tokyo, and as a rookie newly assigned to Special Vehicles Section 2, you find yourself unexpectedly piloting the beloved Enneagram. The game is described as an adventure, involving scenarios where you must escape confinement, occupy locations, and engage in battles using commands. The gameplay features distinct movement and combat modes. Players will encounter familiar faces from the series, including Noah and OHTA, and utilize various items, including some humorously listed like tomatoes and stuffed animals. Scheduled for release this fall, the game utilizes a 4 meters cartridge with battery backup functionality and is priced at 7,800 yen, excluding tax. It's a single-player experience. The page clearly highlights the game's connection to the established Patlabor universe, promising an immersive, story-driven experience for fans. This page dives into the intense world of Metal Fangs, known internationally as Death Duel. The striking image features a battle-scarred cyborg figure, perfectly complementing the large headline which declares the game is truly like fighting technique. The game is introduced as a brand new car racing experience, blending the speed and excitement of car action with the thrill of roller game. Set in the near future, Metal Fangs is a hyper-car action game where players form a 4-person team chosen from 32 unique characters. Matches are divided into attack and defense roles, with the objective being to complete as many laps as possible within a set time limit. The gameplay emphasizes strategy, allowing players to obstruct and crash opponents, making the driving combat feel akin to a fighting game. Screenshots offer a glimpse of the top-down isometric perspective used during gameplay, showing vehicles and characters on the track, alongside portraits of the diverse cast. Published by Victor Musical Industries, the game is listed as coming soon, with the price yet to be determined. This page functions as the magazine's table of contents, giving readers a roadmap of the features within. It highlights new software scramble, covering upcoming games like Xenon 2, RBI, Baseball, and Metal Fangs, among others. The B Mega Hot Menu section lists popular titles such as Thunder Force IV, Splatterhouse Part 2, Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, and Dyna Brothers. Special features include a major piece asking, "Is Sega burning this summer?" A 3RD Anniversary B Mega Quiz, the introduction of Sega's new development group, GSAT, and a look at upcoming titles in the Mega CD press. The page also points to special supplements, like a Wonder Mega Handbook, and a feature dedicated to the game Twinkletail. Screenshots provide visual hints of the content, showing an isometric game and a vertical shoot-'em-up, illustrating the variety of games covered in this issue. This page presents the latest shop data and sales rankings for both Sega Mega Drive and Game Gear software. The Mega Drive Top 10 sales chart shows Shining Force holding the top spot, a classic strategy RPG that clearly captivated players. Magical Teluto-kun is strong at number 2, followed by new entries like the RPG Isle Road from Wolf Team. Other popular titles include the action-packed Alicia Dragoon and the enduring Sonic the Hedgehog. The accompanying text notes that while new releases were sparse this month, a summer rush is expected, and the Mega CD platform is gaining traction. Below, the Game Gear Top 5 ranking is featured. Unsurprisingly, Sonic the Hedgehog leads the charge for Sega's handheld. It's followed by Chow Pro Yakyu, the sports title Super Pro Baseball, the excellent action-adventure Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap, and the RPG Phantasy Star Adventure, rounding out the top contenders for the portable system. The data reflects sales from cooperating stores during the month of May. This page delves into user preferences and broader video game sales. The user data section presents a fascinating transplant wishlist top 20. Revealing which games Mega Drive owners desperately wanted ported to the console. Leading the charge are heavy hitters like the Street Fighter II series, followed by popular RPGs such as Record of Lodoss War, Princess Maker, and the Final Fantasy series. The list features a wide array of genres, from action titles like Captain Commando and Cotton, to strategy games like SimCity and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 Eyes, showing the diverse tastes of Mega Drive players. The magazine celebrates the recent arrival or announcement of games like Gauntlet, Captain America and the Avengers, and Aerobiz, suggesting these were highly anticipated ports. Below, the shop data provides a different perspective, ranking the top-selling video games overall. This section is dominated by arcade powerhouses. Street Fighter II takes the top spot, underscoring the massive impact the game had, a phenomenon also noted in the accompanying text which references the Super Famicom version's success. Stunk's raucous fighting game King of the Monsters 2 and Alpha System's action-packed Ninja Commando are also featured in the top 5, complete with screenshots showcasing their intense gameplay. This ranking reflects the current popularity of competitive fighting and action games in the arcade scene. The latest user-voted Mega Drive game ranking showcases the most anticipated upcoming releases. Thunder Force IV, with its powerful weaponry, takes the top spot, moving up from second. Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, featuring tracks designed by the racing legend, secures second place. 3x3 Eyes comes in third, despite an underwhelming demo. Robo Aleste, promising improved visuals, claims fourth. Afterburner 2i, with its intense sound design, rounds out the top 5. The remaining top 20 features a variety of genres, from shooters like Gleely Lancer and Thunderstorm FX, to RPGs, such as The Heroic Legend of Arslan and Arcus 2i. Strategy games, and even titles like Golden Axe 2i and Glock Air Battle were also highly anticipated, demonstrating the wide appeal of the Mega Drive's upcoming library as determined by user interest. This page presents a comprehensive look at the upcoming software lineup for Sega platforms. The main section features the new soft schedule for the Mega Drive, listing a multitude of titles across various genres like action, shooting, RPG, simulation, and more, complete with release dates, prices, and data specifications. Standout titles include Thunder Force IV, Splatterhouse Part 2, Landstalker, The Treasures of King Knoll, Streets of Rage 2, and the highly anticipated Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Below, dedicated sections detail the schedules for the Mega CD and Game Gear, showcasing their own exciting releases. The Mega CD list features titles like Afterburner 2i, Rise of the Dragon, Prince of Persia, and Robo Aleste. The Game Gear schedule includes portable versions of popular titles like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage, and Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. A notable editorial section highlights the excitement from Sega's recent presentation, specifically mentioning the unexpected reveal of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and the showcase of Phantasy Star IV. The editor also hints at a major simulation series sequel in development for the Mega CD, targeting a spring release, indicating a strong lineup for the end of the year and beyond, particularly concerning sequels to popular franchises. Software developers share upcoming releases. Sega highlights Mega Drive titles like Sports Games and Gate of Shura, along with Game Gear's Dodge Danpei and Megacrid's Rise of the Dragon. GSAT aims to create hit games, while Maruba releases Mobile Police Patlabor. Game Arts showcases Mega CD titles Yumi Mix, Sylphid, and Gambler Jiko Chushinya 2. Wolf Team mentions Thunderstorm FX. Kaneko notes the success of Power Athlete and Retsuden Musashi. Sunsoft confirms Lemmings on Mega Drive. Softvision announces Mega Drive Pachinko Kunyan. Taito confirms Night Striker and the Ninja Warriors for Mega CD. Tenjin releases RBI Baseball 4, with real player names, and Gauntlet. Data West works on Merry-Go-Round and a secret title. Very teases a possible year-end release. Victor Musical Industries mentions Prince of Persia's imminent arrival. Riverhill Soft releases a Game Gear title. This page presents the B-Megadog Race review section, showcasing new releases for Sega systems. Featured games include Dodge Danpei, based on the popular dodgeball anime, and David Robinson Basketball. Dodge Danpei is praised for its fun gameplay, especially in versus mode, with easy controls and exciting special moves, earning an average score of 7.25 dogs. David Robinson Basketball offers a realistic simulation but receives comments on camera transitions and player identification issues, though shooting is reliable, resulting in an average score of 5.5 dogs. Various reviewers, such as a Game Beginner Girl, Foreign Game User, Game Mania Group, and General Game User, provide their individual thoughts and ratings for each title. This section reviews 4 new games. Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, a racing game with improved driving and graphics, receives mixed reviews despite its popularity, averaging 7.25 dogs. King Salmon, a fishing simulation, offers a realistic experience and is a decent time waster, scoring 6.25 dogs. Granada, a shooting game with impressive visuals but challenging gameplay, scores 6.75 dogs. Thunder Force IV, a highly anticipated sequel, offers a satisfying shooting experience with strategic depth, though some found the later stages lacking originality. It's praised for its production quality and story, earning an average of 7.25 dogs. This page reviews 4 more releases for the system. First up is Olympic Gold, a timely sports game tied to the Barcelona Olympics, offering 7 events. Reviewers found the controls generally simple and the overall package decent, though some thought the number of events was a bit low, and certain controls, like the pole vault, were difficult, earning it a 6.75 average. Next is Dyna Brothers, a strategy simulation game where you raise dinosaurs. It features cute characters and real-time elements, described as a deep SLG-like experience that rewards strategic thinking, also averaging 6.75. The third game is Twinkletail, a fantasy shooting game starring a young witch. Praised for its nice backgrounds and challenging action with plenty of enemies and bullets, it's a solid, albeit tough, shooter with a good atmosphere, landing a 6.75 average. Finally, there's Hyokori Hutanjima, De Turyu o Mezasu, a board game adaptation of a classic TV puppet show where players aim to become president. While the concept and character dialogue were appreciated for their unique flavor and nostalgia, the overall game system was found quite simple, leading to a lower average score of 5.75. The next page reviews 4 more upcoming or recently released games for the system. First is the anime adaptation Patlabor, an adventure game incorporating RPG elements. Reviewers found the mix of genres and gameplay awkward, despite a good cinematic opening, resulting in a disappointing adaptation with an average score of 5.5. Next up is Atomic Runner Chelnov, a port of the arcade action game. Players control a scientist fighting enemies in a post-apocalyptic world. Opinions were mixed, praising the port's fidelity and B-movie vibe, but criticizing the difficult controls, leading to an average score of 7.25. The third game is Splatterhouse Part 2, the sequel to the famous horror action game. While some reviewers felt it was less gory than expected, fans of the series appreciated the challenging gameplay and improved production values, earning an average of 7.0. Finally, Xenon 2, a vertical shooter by the Bitmap brothers, is reviewed. This port of the overseas hit was criticized for its slow speed and disappointing music quality compared to the original Amiga version, despite retaining the striking graphics and featuring flashy power-ups, resulting in the lowest average score of 5.25 among these titles. The next page covers 4 diverse titles. First up is Shura no Mon, a command-based fighting game adaptation of a popular manga. Reviewers found the command input a bit plain compared to games like Street Fighter II, but felt fans of the original manga would enjoy the story and increasing excitement. The anime skip function was appreciated. It received an average score of 6.75. Next is Neketsu High School Dodgeball Club Soccer, part of the well-known Kunio-kun series. This soccer entry was described as fast-paced, but relying heavily on special moves, with reviewers noting the main character's movement was somewhat limited compared to supporting characters who follow instructions well. The overall feeling was that it leaned heavily on the special moves concept. It scored a 5.5 average. Following that is Side Pocket, a faithful port of the arcade billiard game. Reviewers praised the graphics and sound, finding it an enjoyable experience for billiard fans, especially noting the realistic feel of adjusting shot power and position. The game was deemed a solid purchase for enthusiasts. It achieved an average score of 6.75. Finally, Prince of Persia is reviewed. This port was highlighted for its realistic main character movements and numerous patterns. Reviewers noted the graphics were vibrant but perhaps overly colorful compared to other versions. While speed was improved, some found it slightly more difficult. The visual scenes were a point of discussion, being surprisingly clean. It earned an average score of 6.25. This page continues the magazine's reviews, featuring 2 new releases. First up is Thunderstorm FX for the Mega CD, a port of the Data East Laserdisc arcade shooter. This fast-paced game puts you in an attack helicopter and is praised for its smooth, anime-style graphics on the system, though reviewers note some hardware differences from the arcade original. Success hinges on quick reactions and precise aiming in this intense action title. It received an average score of 7.25. Alongside it is Olympic Gold, a track and field game that focuses on simple, competitive events, often relying on button mashing. Reviewers found it enjoyable for multiplayer competition, comparing it to other versions while discussing the simplicity of controls versus the challenge of execution. Its average score was 6.25. The editorial section reflects on the current month's Mega Drive releases, highlighting a strong lineup including titles like Xenon 2, Streets of Rage 2, Thunder Force IV, and Monaco 2. They note the increased variety and quality, expressing gratitude for the Mega Drive's robust software library and the emergence of more ambitious and competitive titles this month. This page delves into the Mega Reader Race, a reader-driven poll where players rate their Mega Drive games. The results are presented as an odds table, showcasing games ranked by average score based on reader votes. The top position in odds table A is held firmly by Shining Force, marking its third consecutive month at number 1. The table now includes game genres, showing a stable lineup among the highest-ranked titles. Featured prominently are several games from the ranking. The favorite pick is Magical Tululuto, an action game ranked 13th. Despite its low price, readers found it enjoyable. Alicia Dragoon, an action game ranked 16th and highlighted as a dark horse contender, is praised for its visuals and unique world, but noted for its difficulty. Outside the main ranking, Uncharted Waters, a simulation game, appears at 52nd place, recognized as a deep title. While Rambo 2i, an action game down at 169th, receives less favorable comments regarding its gameplay. These sections provide snapshots of reader and magazine opinions on various titles across different genres. This page continues the Mega Reader Race rankings, showcasing games from rank 45 down to 99 in the reader-voted popularity poll. The table lists the game's rank, previous rank, name, genre, and average score from reader votes. Several titles are highlighted in dedicated sections. This single-hole horse feature looks at games that may not have garnered massive vote counts, but have interesting aspects. This includes Dragon's Eye plus Shanghai 2 Eyes, ranked 93rd, an entry in the classic tile matching series, which is noted as decent but slow. Toki, known as Juju Densetsu, ranked 125th, is presented as an action game with fun gameplay but some frustrating difficulty spikes. Aeroflash, ranked 147th, is discussed as a shooter with appealing visuals but lacking in gameplay depth. Conversely, the losing ticket section reviews games that performed poorly in the polls. De Springer, ranked 168th, is criticized for technical issues and poor presentation. Junction, ranked 177th, a puzzle game, receives negative comments regarding its visual clarity and uninspired gameplay structure. Additional sections, like off-track betting and owner's voice, contain brief reader comments and feedback related to the games and the polling process itself. This page continues the Mega Reader Race rankings, displaying games from rank 100 down to 150 based on reader votes. The main focus of this page is Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse, highlighted as the feature game written by Aoyama Yoko. This action title is noted as being the top performer in the very first reader race. The review praises the game's graphics and animation, describing them as being so good it's like watching a Disney movie, capturing Mickey's charm perfectly. The game's difficulty is mentioned, starting easy for beginners but increasing in later stages. Reader comments echo the praise for the visuals and character movement. The page also includes statistical data on the game's performance in the reader polls, such as average reader and editorial odds, and a breakdown of vote distribution. The overall sentiment is that Castle of Illusion's strong presentation and accessible gameplay justify its high regard, particularly for less experienced players. A concluding remark playfully declares Mickey Mouse's immortality and expresses a wish for Disneyland. This page continues the Mega Reader Race rankings, showing games from the low 150s down to 200. But the big news is the epic Showdown of Fate, comparing the Mega Drive and the Super Famicom. They lay out the Super Famicom's top reader-voted games, featuring giants like Street Fighter II, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Final Fantasy IV, and Nobunaga's Ambition. The commentary points out that Super Famicom is dominating in RPGs and arcade ports like SF2, while the Mega Drive has a strong overall library but perhaps needs more depth in certain genres, though exciting upcoming titles like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Landstalker are highlighted as games to watch. The page also features 2 prediction contests, one for the Megacready's upcoming Lunar, the Silver Star ranking, and another for the average score of a different game, possibly King Colossus. If you want to get in on the reader race action yourself, they're recruiting participants, offering F-22 Interceptor and another Mega Drive game as a prize. The editorial summary touches on the rankings being relatively stable this month, but expresses excitement for Sega's big upcoming releases. Upcoming video game releases include exciting titles from Irem, SNK, and Sega. Irem's Bomberman World tasks players with defeating King Bomber across diverse stages, utilizing various power-ups and facing unique enemies. Irem also brings Undercover Cops, a beat-em-up with 3 playable characters and stage-based weaponry. Thanks Art of Fighting for Neo Geo delivers a fighting game experience with 10 characters and demanding quick 2-round matches across multiple stages. Finally, Sega introduces Where's Wally?, a trackball-controlled game based on the iconic picture book, challenging players to find Wally within crowded scenes. A more detailed look at the Sega title is slated for the next issue. This page features news and information from the world of Sega. It highlights the upcoming Amusement Machine show, noting a change in venue to Makuhari Messe and Sega's participation. It also covers the Sega Sonic Summer Festival '92 campaign running at Sega AM centers nationwide, offering fans a chance to win exclusive Sonic prizes. Reporting from the Tokyo Toy Show, the page notes that Sega's booth was a major draw, showcasing popular titles like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Phantasy Star IV. A photo from the event shows Sega's Aoki Planning Department manager in attendance. Additionally, there's a look behind the scenes at the commercial shoot for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, featuring the racing legend himself. Finally, Victor Japan is releasing Wonder Sound speakers, specifically designed to enhance the audio experience on the Wonder Mega, Sega's all-in-one Genesis/Sega CD console. This page continues the news and information section, starting with a feature on Leox's large computer game museum store in Akihabara, a huge shop across 6 floors, stocking a wide range of domestic and imported console and PC games, including strategy guides. It also covers events, highlighting a cryo-organized Speedball 2 expert tournament in Tokyo, where international competitors participated and were well received, as shown in a photo of players competing. For video releases, Sega put out a spooky horror anthology titled Kaiki Sennen Ichiya Monogatari, a collection of 6 short stories featuring work by notable directors. Upcoming summer events are listed, including B Mega World in Summer Carnival '92, showcasing new Mega CD and Game Gear software, and Gamesaurus '92, offering hands-on demos in various cities across Japan. In the goods section, Philips released a stylish foldable 14-inch color TV called Your TV, available from Sega, which can connect to the Mega Drive. Finally, the page features several new game music CD releases, including albums and drama crids for popular series like YS, Street Fighter II, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Zaxxon, Pulirula, and Dragon Slayer. Brief mentions at the bottom note the release of a new manga magazine, the B Mega World broadcast date, and the release dates for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2 and Olympic Gold. This page features the B Mega CM detective team, focusing on analyzing game commercials. The main subjects are a comparative ad for Sonic the Hedgehog and an ad for Lunar, the Silver Star. The first part details the Sonic the Hedgehog comparative commercial, which is 30 seconds long. It depicts a scene in a game store, where a clerk first pushes Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, but a customer then focuses on Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis. The ad highlights Sonic's speed and the Genesis's price point compared to the competition. The team finds it interesting how it directly compares the two systems and games. The second commercial reviewed is a 15-second ad for the highly anticipated RPG Lunar, the Silver Star on Mega CD. This ad prominently features anime cutscenes, showcasing the visual style, which is a key selling point for Kratdrom games. The article notes the production details and narrator for the ad. The commentary section briefly touches on the effectiveness of comparison ads, referencing a similar ad from the previous year and discussing how the Lunar ad leverages the anime strengths of the CD format. This page features a recap of the Million Card Cup Race Round 2 at Suzuka Circuit, covering both the Japan F3000 and F3 championships held on May 23rd and 24th. The F3000 race was particularly dramatic, highlighting a major accident involving driver Nobuo Ogawa, who tragically passed away from his injuries after colliding with Scott. The race was red-flagged, and Weidler was declared the winner based on earlier standings. The article details the initial chaos involving drivers like Irvine and Capcom-sponsored WADA. In the F3 championship, Ad Reload secured his 4th consecutive victory, leading from pole position. The page includes action shots of the races, some showing the crashes, and features photos of the race queens, noting the change in costume design, and encouraging readers to attend future races with cameras. It touches on the presence of Capcom sponsoring drivers or teams in both categories. This page features the Mega Genesis information section, highlighting 2 upcoming titles. First up is the Dual Test Drive 2 by Accolade. Unlike a traditional race game, this focuses on the pure joy of driving, letting you cruise through beautiful scenery and high-performance cars like the Lamborghini Diablo, Ferrari F40, or Porsche 959. Watch out for police though, as getting caught means getting a ticket. It looks like a great experience for enjoying the open road. Next, we see Carmen Sandiego from Electronic Arts. Already known on PC for its educational bent, this Genesis version is about tracking down criminals across the world and through history. While the controls are simple, solving the cases requires some English comprehension for the clues. It seems like a fun way to learn a bit while playing. Finally, the page mentions that overseas Master System software is still going strong. There's a section discussing adapters that allow you to play these foreign Master System titles on your Game Gear or Japanese Mark II console. This page features the new release Scramble section, giving a look at some upcoming titles for the Sega Mega Drive. Headlining the previews is the puzzle phenomenon Lemmings. This game, originally a hit on Amiga, is famous for its unique concept, where players must guide a horde of small creatures through dangerous levels by assigning them various skills, like digging, building, and blocking. The Mega Drive version is highlighted for featuring original stages not found in previous ports. The page also includes a comparison showing screenshots of Lemmings across the Mega Drive, PC Engine, and Super Famicom, suggesting the reviewer is looking at how the Mega Drive stacks up. But next up is Pachinko Kunyan, a pachinko game from Soft Vision. This seems to be a more narrative-driven take on the genre, involving searching for a missing father in Yokohama's pachinko parlors. It's unusual to see this type of game on the Mega Drive, and the preview seems to focus on the unique premise and gameplay style. The page also lists other upcoming games including Gauntlet, Captain America and the Avengers, Xenon 2, and RB Baseball 4, alongside other Japanese-developed titles like Vixen 357 and Metal Fang. Overall, the page gives a quick snapshot of the diverse range of software on the horizon for the system. This page covers a couple more upcoming titles in the new release Scramble. First up is Vixen 357, a tactical simulation game. The preview features character artwork and screenshots showing the game's flow, from scenario introductions and character dialogues to strategic map combat, where you select targets and execute attacks. The reviewer points out a specific tactical detail. You can choose your attack method even after deciding a unit's movement, which they note is something to remember. The game is structured around 16 scenarios, suggesting a strong narrative progression. This is a one-player experience. Below that is a look at Crying, a horizontal scrolling shooter. Screenshots show the intense action, highlighting large, grotesque enemy designs. The text emphasizes the exhilarating shooting gameplay and the impact of the enemy visuals and animations. The reviewer also notes the player character's varied attack options and mentions the story as part of a serial novel, but the focus here is clearly on the visceral shooting action and impressive enemy sprites, even referring to them as biohazards. Both games appear to be around 60% complete and are slated for an October release. Crying supports 2 players simultaneously. Sega Mega Drive's new release Scramble introduces 3 upcoming titles. Metal Fang, a cyber-violent racer, offers a unique gameplay loop focusing on offense and defense while avoiding opponents and upgrading cars. The game features a large driver roster and supports 2-player versus mode, with a September release targeted at 70% completion. Gauntlet, the classic arcade action game, is being ported. Players choose from 4 heroes to battle through mazes filled with enemies. The preview highlights the game's nostalgia, though the player count is currently unknown. It's 50% complete with a November release planned. Finally, Captain America and the Avengers, a beat-em-up based on the comic series, is in development. This port of the arcade game lets players control heroes with unique attacks and comic-accurate dialogue. It's currently 30% complete with a January '93 release and supports 2 players. This page features previews of 2 upcoming games. First up is Junkers High, a futuristic racing game set on highways. Developed by staff who worked on Outrun, it promises high-speed and dynamic course layouts that weave up, down, left, and right, even more intensely than Outrun. The game is said to feature around 50 courses selectable at branching points during races. Screenshots show a futuristic car on varied tracks, including a highway with a transparent roadbed and a tunnel exit leading to a cityscape, along with a detailed HUD displaying speed, power, and lap time. The reviewer notes the automatic saving of best times and expresses excitement for the handling. It's listed as 70% complete. Below that is Hano no Tokyuji Dodge Danpei, a dodgeball game based on the manga/anime series Dodge Danpei. The preview highlights that even players unfamiliar with the source material can enjoy the intense super dodgeball action, though knowing it adds depth through character emotions. It's called a solid sports game for the Mega Drive at a reasonable price. Screenshots display the character sprites, special moves, team selection, and various game modes like Battle Royale and League Play, including a training mode. The reviewer suggests that mastering the game against the computer will lead players to seek out human opponents to unleash devastating special shots. It's listed as 100% complete. This page dives into 3 diverse upcoming titles for the Mega Drive. First up is Xenon 2, a port of the classic vertical scrolling shooter. This version maintains the core gameplay with power-ups and varied level designs, including vertical and horizontal scrolling sections. The magazine highlights the impressive graphics and the inclusion of the famous Bomb the Bass theme music, noting its popularity in Europe. Screenshots show chaotic enemy encounters, the player ship, and even a shop interface where you can buy upgrades. It's stated to be 95% complete. Below that, RB.I4 Baseball brings American-style baseball action to the console. Developed jointly by Tengen's US and Japanese teams, the game is praised for its detailed player data, covering stats from 1983 to 1990, and featuring real player names. The presentation captures the feel of American baseball, with various camera angles and smooth player action. Screenshots showcase the pitching and batting perspectives, as well as the dugout view. This title is 80% complete and supports 2 players. Finally, Power Athlete is a one-on-one fighting game where global fighters compete to be the best. The gameplay features best-of-3 matches to determine the winner, a format popular in the genre. There are around 8 stages promised, and crucially, it supports 2-player versus mode. The game also features some characters that were submitted by the public. Screenshots display the fighting action on different backdrops. This game is still under development at 60% complete. This page features Thunder Force IV, the highly anticipated upcoming entry in the popular Mega Drive shooter series. The magazine highlights that the game is nearing completion, stating it's 100% done and set to be released on July 24th for 8,800 yen. It's described as the pinnacle of Mega Drive shooters. The article provides a brief history of the Thunder Force series, mentioning Thunder Force 2, initially released on the X68000 computer and later ported to the Mega Drive, featuring both multi-directional and horizontal scrolling stages. Thunder Force 2 I followed, becoming a pure horizontal shooter and even getting an arcade release. Thunder Force IV is presented as the latest evolution, with rules similar to Thunder Force 2i, so series veterans should feel right at home. The notoriously high difficulty is still present, encouraging players to hone their skills on the previous title before diving in. Screenshots display the intense horizontal shooting action, showcasing detailed sprites and backgrounds, alongside a stage selection screen allowing players to tackle the first 4 stages in any order. Small captions note the beautiful visuals and the consistent difficulty of the series. This page serves as a guide to mastering the basics of Thunder Force IV, emphasizing that while the game is difficult, a strong foundation in controls and item usage is crucial for clearing it. The article breaks down essential aspects like ship movement using the D-pad and using the A, B, and C buttons for attacking, weapon selection, and speed control, noting that button mapping is customizable. A key tip highlighted is the ability to select weapons and change speed while the game is paused, which is particularly helpful for newcomers. The guide explains how items appear, either fixed or carried by enemies, and the importance of destroying carriers to collect them. It mentions both power-ups and one-ups, warning that items are often placed in hard-to-use locations, encouraging players to memorize their positions. Further tips cover strategy points, stressing patience and memory as vital for overcoming difficult areas. The article notes that stages 1 through 4 can be tackled in any order, suggesting a strategic advantage to this flexibility. It also details the precise speed control system, allowing adjustments in 1% increments, and recommends setting a preferred speed in the options menu for easier play. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate gameplay moments, the stage selection process, the options screen, and various weapons and enemies, reinforcing the points made in the text. This guide details specific tactics for Lightning Force. After clearing 5 stages, players obtain a special, powerful beam weapon with recoil. Stage 1. Wait for the dragon bias, then evade Gargoyle's core. Stage 2. Use backshots against multi-type enemies and slow down after destroying Death Adder's turrets. Stage 3. Don't miss the one-up on the final bomber. Use freeway or snake for turrets. Stage 4. Center yourself against MD, attacking its main body and position below its head. Stage 5. Attack the battleship from afar, with freeway recommended, while constantly moving up and down. Focus on survival, on the left side of the screen, and locate the hidden one-up. This page continues the guide for Thunder Force, IV, Lightning Force, covering stages 6 and 7 with tactical advice and boss strategies. Stage 6 is the Ice World. After clearing Stage 5, Rhinox is powered up, enabling a strong laser beam with the option weapon. Enemies are often aquatic or ice-themed. Tough foes include crystal arms that create currents and circling swarms. Destructible ice paths and floating platforms that act as turrets are highlighted. The Stage 6 mid-boss, Bolt Paws, resembles the Stage 2 boss but is much stronger. Its weakness is a circling ring that must be destroyed to prevent revival. Keep distance as it spits fire. The main boss involves large eggs that split into smaller ones, though the eggs themselves cannot always be destroyed. Stage 7 is a lava cave. The narrow paths require careful navigation, as enemy appearances and power-ups vary depending on the route. Useful items like options and shields are found here. A large enemy, Franigan, shoots many bullets forward and is vulnerable to the snake weapon. The mid-boss, Angalar, is a multi-jointed creature previously seen in Thunder Force 2 MD. It moves unpredictably, firing lasers and homing missiles, and also spawns wall-sticking turrets from its back. It transforms after taking damage, and performs body rush attacks. The guide emphasizes understanding its movement and attacks to survive. Screenshots show the environments, enemies, and the bosses for both stages. This page continues the look at Lightning Force. Quest for the Dark Star. Building on the previous stage guides, it reveals that the game extends beyond Stage 7, featuring a total of 10 stages, with the real challenge and significantly increased difficulty kicking in from Stage 8. The article hints at intense battles ahead, suggesting players familiar with previous Thunder Force titles will recognize the intense boss rushes. It also discusses the game's multiple difficulty settings: easy, normal, hard, maniac, noting that the ending music changes based on difficulty. Clearing on maniac is presented as the true goal to witness the real ending, though players are encouraged to at least aim for an easy clear. The page also includes a report from the Tokyo Toy Show, where Lightning Force was a major draw, with long queues of fans eager to play the unreleased game. Technosoft's booth hosted a game tournament, quiz contests, and photo opportunities, demonstrating the game's high anticipation. A message from the developer advises players to pre-order the game and practice by playing Thunder Force 2i while they wait. This page dives into a heated discussion around porting overseas games to the Mega Drive for the Japanese market. The core question posed is whether it's even worth continuing if many ports end up being poor quality or baffling works that miss the mark. Reader opinions vary, but there's a strong sentiment that straight ports without consideration for Japanese tastes are problematic. While some appreciate the diversity, like games such as Tetris or Populous, which offer unique ideas not common in Japanese development, others criticize poor localization, unsuitable character designs, or gameplay styles that don't resonate. Games like Sword of Sodan are cited as examples of genres where Japanese developers might do better. There's a clear desire for thoughtful localization and improvement, especially regarding features like continues or saves. Sega's perspective is also presented, stating they consider the domestic market and user base when deciding on ports. They acknowledge that some overseas games, particularly unique ones like Toe Jam and Earl and sports titles, have been well received by certain segments of the audience. Sega intends to continue actively porting software that fits the market environment. Finally, there's a section covering the release schedule for upcoming software, humorously titled, with a nod to potential postponements being almost expected. This page features the BeepMD reader feedback section, highlighting player opinions on various Mega Drive games. Discussions cover titles like Caesar no Yabu 2, with differing views on its quality and difficulty, and Advanced Daisen Ryaku Advanced Military Commander, praised for its strategic depth but noted for interface clutter. Isle Road garners mixed reactions, appreciated for its opening but criticized for repetitive gameplay elements. Battlemania Troubleshooter is a fan favorite, with multiple contributors praising the series, especially the second game, for its characters and enjoyable gameplay. Chameleon Kid is reviewed positively by one player who found its transformation mechanics interesting, despite frustrations with its difficulty due to limited continues. Sonic the Hedgehog also gets a brief mention. The bottom of the page showcases fan illustrations, featuring characters from Prince of Persia, likely the Mega CD version, Battlemania, Troubleshooter, and what appears to be Advanced Daisen Ryaku, A small sidebar includes anecdotal stories from readers. This page features the Things I Want to Say to the Industry section within BeepMD, collecting reader feedback on various topics. Players voice opinions on the announced Night Striker port for Sega CD, questioning its faithfulness to the arcade original. There are calls for Taito to release more Mega Drive arrangements of their arcade hits. One reader criticizes some of Sega's character-based games as boring, suggesting the industry should target adults with titles based on popular dramas like Tokyo Love Story, as they have more disposable income than children. Much discussion centers on the Mega CD, debating its necessity and potential. Readers discuss using its capacity for things like music games, featuring characters from series like Shining Force, but note its high price and question if animation intros are enough to compete with television. Concerns are raised about the increasing number of multi-platform ports and the high cost of recent software in general. Frustration is also expressed regarding frequent game release date delays. Below the text are fan illustrations showcasing characters from various games, including Afterburner, Sonic Band, featuring Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, Twinkletail, Nigel Mansell's World Championship, and Shining Force, highlighting some popular titles among the readership. The BeepMD section features a review of the controversial unlicensed Mega Drive shooter, Divine Ceiling, highlighting its adult content, disappointing graphics, and poor gameplay balance. An accompanying illustration is included. The page also contains the MD-kun 4-panel manga, with a correction for a previous ranking error. The main content solicits reader submissions for various categories, including discussions on the new software release schedule, critiques of bad games, feedback to the game industry, general gaming chat, illustrations, and satirical MD-kun manga. Finally, the page announces the winners of the previous month's issue's prizes, including software, mugs, stickers, merchandise, and posters. Submission guidelines and details on upcoming magazine sections are also provided. Jam Oji-san analyzes the TV game market, focusing on the Mega Drive's struggles against the Super Famicom. Observing the Tokyo Toy Show, he notes the Mega Drive's improved software, boosted by third-party developers. However, these developers favor the Super Famicom due to its larger user base and stronger sales, even for less popular titles. The author contrasts this with Sega's past reliance on arcade ports, which is less effective now. The success of third-party titles, like Capcom's on the Super Famicom, further widens the gap. The release of Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 on both consoles exemplifies this, with users likely buying the version for the console they already own. Despite these challenges, Oji-san anticipates Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and suggests Sega strategically partner with third-party developers to differentiate itself, promising further analysis in his next column. The article features visuals from the Tokyo Toy Show, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2, and Sonic. This page features a communication section from Sega Falcom, titled Sega Falcom Communication Act, TEND. It includes a segment introducing new employees with a photo of several staff members in an office environment, discussing their impressions of the company culture, and a training activity involving 3-minute speeches. A significant portion is dedicated to highlighting 4 female staff members with cartoon illustrations and brief profiles. Their roles range from liaison with Sega headquarters to development and planning/management. Their backgrounds include graduating from computer graphics and art schools. Their interests are also mentioned, including being fans of Falcom's own Game Sorcerian, loving hard rock music, and using games to de-stress. Notably, 2 of the profiles feature pen names clearly referencing gaming culture: Zhao Yun Zilong, a famous character from Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and Shoryuken, a move from fighting games. This section emphasizes the contributions of the female staff members to the company. The next page features a column titled Ruthless Industry by Sega Falcom director Kazutaka Yano, reflecting on his experiences at the Consumer Electronics Show, CES. Yakano dives straight into the fierce price war raging between the Genesis and Super NES, a key point of contention in the market. He notes that despite a generally slow economy reflected at CES, the game industry presence was energetic, particularly highlighting Hudson Soft's strong showing with their TurboGrafx PC engine and the Turbo Technologies Inc. venture. A significant portion of the article is dedicated to the multitude of industry parties held during Axis. Yakino describes the scene, contrasting the Japanese business style with the party-focused ICAS approach. He recounts attending various gatherings, including Sega's party and one hosted by Hot B, but singles out Hudson Soft's party held on a cruise ship as the most memorable. He also briefly contrasts the buoyant TUS market with the comparatively quiet Japanese scene leading up to the Christmas season. The accompanying photos show Yano during his travels, with captions touching on his constant networking and observations while in the States. This page features the fourth issue of Sims Communication, a column from the developer Sims. The main focus is the completion of voice recording for Capcom's upcoming Sega Mega Drive quiz game, Quiz Tonosama no Yabu. The article details the intensive recording sessions, where 4,000 quiz questions were voiced by a cast including several well-known Japanese voice actors. A key feature highlighted is that every question is read aloud, allowing players to enjoy the game without needing to look at the screen, a great option for competitive play. The game is noted as nearing release. Following this is the Sims Communication Mail Corner, showcasing feedback and questions from readers. Fans send in postcards with messages and illustrations. One reader queries about future Sims titles, mentioning Turbo Outrun, while another shares fan art, prompting Sims to invite more questions about their future Mega Drive and even Master System game plans, encouraging submissions via mail or Sega's Terranet online service. This page delves into the intriguing mystery surrounding the unreleased Sega Mega Drive version of Tetris, developed by Sims. Under the banner, Dangerous Serial, Sims exposes secret software info. The column reveals the truth behind the game's cancellation. Sims confirms they indeed developed the Mega Drive Tetris in-house, refuting various rumors about its origins and delay. They touch upon the complex reasons for its shelving, hinting at issues with Sega and potential problems related to sample units and even overseas piracy, making it one of the great what ifs for Mega Drive fans. A screenshot of the game is shown, confirming its existence. The page also continues the segment related to the Capcom quiz game, Quiz Tonosama no Yabu. A manga strip depicts historical events tied to the game's theme. Following this are the answers to the previous month's quiz challenge, which involves spotting subtle differences in a game screenshot. This month's quiz is hosted by the column's mascot, the 100 kilograms Pooh. Finally, the column invites readers to submit their questions, feedback, manga, or gags via postcard for a chance to be featured and receive a prize. This page features the regular Sonic Communications column, edited by Sonic Company, Limited. The main article is by Hiroyuki Takahashi, titled, I Want to Make the Industry More Interesting. He discusses the busy nature of game development at Sonic and the recent hiring of many game production assistants, who will learn the ropes with the goal of developing original titles. He reflects on how game development has become more complex compared to when he first entered the industry, making it harder for newcomers without deep technical knowledge to contribute ideas directly. He intends to guide the new hires to become excellent planners. Below this is a new section, New Employee Hanako Okada's OL Diary Heart. Hanako introduces herself as a recent university graduate who joined Sonic. She jokes about arriving late but leaving on time, and promises to report on the unknown realities of the company. She mentions a postcard she received as inspiration, and references the recent news from previous Sonic Sushin issues that the company president's younger brother has joined the team. The page includes a humorous comic strip by Mori titled, The Melancholy Takahashi Brothers, which depicts comical scenes of office life involving the Sonic president and his brother, including issues like sleeping at work and serving tea, offering a lighthearted glimpse into the company culture. Informal photos are also featured, adding to the personal feel of the column. This page continues the Sonic Communications column. The main feature is the Taguchi/Dogen's Proverb Dojo, presented as a conversational segment where staff discuss reader submissions and topics, mixing humor with life advice and nods to popular games like Shining Force. Several large calligraphic phrases act as featured proverbs or messages, seemingly drawn from reader contributions. The Sonic Communications Mania section expresses gratitude for reader postcards, confirms that the Shining Force character popularity poll is still open for entries, and mentions that special goods are sent to those whose submissions are published. There's also a section dedicated to the Disciples Room, highlighting the 4 new game design disciples currently under training and including a photo of them. The page concludes with an ending section calling for reader submissions for the column and illustrations for the OL diary, humorously noting that the staff are currently obsessed with Street Fighter II. The page also features various reader illustrations and comic panels. The next page is a comprehensive listing from the Sega specialty store, Santa, offering a wide range of games and hardware for the Sega Mega Drive, Game Gear, and Master System. It features a large illustration of Santa Claus next to the store's name and contact information, promoting Sega titles like Senna Super Monaco, GP2, and Thunder Force IV as must-buys. The page includes Santa's recommendations, broken down into a new releases Best 10 for June-August and a Best Hit 20. These lists highlight popular titles like Thunder Force IV, Splatterhouse 2, Greylancer, Gleelancer, and King Colossus among the new releases, and classics like Outrun, Shining Force, and Sonic the Hedgehog in the Best Hits section, giving players a curated list to consider. The bulk of the page is dedicated to extensive software lineups for the Mega Drive, Game Gear, and Master System, presented as detailed price lists. This section showcases the vast library available from the store, covering everything from action and RPGs to sports titles. There are also listings for accessories and even overseas versions of Master System games that can be played on the Game Gear with an adapter. Ordering instructions are provided, explaining how customers can place orders via phone or mail, mentioning payment methods, and shipping fees. This page serves as a direct retail catalog for Sega enthusiasts. This page kicks off the Be Mega Hot Menu Part 2 feature, highlighting several upcoming titles including Landstalker, Heir of King Knuckle, Splatterhouse 2, Chernobyl, Patlabor, King Salmon, Gleelancer, and Shura no Mon, which are covered on subsequent pages. The primary focus here is Landstalker, Heir of King Knuckle, an action RPG from Climax, known for its unique isometric quarter-view perspective. Sega held a press conference on June 11th to announce the game, emphasizing its vast world brought to life by the DDS 520 programming system, creating what looks like a stunning 3D miniature garden. Climax president Hiroshi Naito was present, showing great passion for the project. The game is currently 50% complete and expected this autumn. To help attendees visualize the game's distinctive look, physical dioramas depicting scenes from the game's world were also showcased at the event. This page continues the coverage of Landstalker, Heir of King Knuckle, focusing specifically on its innovative world presentation. It describes the game's world as an electronic diorama world, emphasizing how its isometric quarter-view perspective creates a sense of a miniature garden. The reviewer notes that unlike traditional RPGs or even some first-person 3D games where the view is limited or flat, Landstalker's viewpoint is like looking down from above, realistically depicting how objects can obstruct your line of sight, just like in the real world. The page highlights specific examples of this detailed world building. It shows how traversing the interior of a lighthouse involves climbing a spiral staircase, giving a tangible sense of vertical space and the feeling of ascent and descent. It also points out the variety of buildings in the towns, from churches to small houses, and the detail that even houses that look similar from the outside have unique interiors based on the residents, adding to the world's realism. Finally, it discusses how crossing bridges effectively conveys a sense of height, making you instinctively want to test the drop. The overall impression is that Landstalker's graphical style and attention to environmental detail create a uniquely believable world for an RPG of its time. This page continues the exploration of Landstalker, Heir of King Knuckle's unique presentation. It delves into the practicalities of navigating the game's isometric world. Going upstairs isn't just walking, you need to jump onto them, otherwise you'll just bump your feet, a detail that reinforces the verticality. Descending, however, is simply a matter of falling off. The structures themselves are impressively detailed. Even interiors are meticulously crafted, making them feel like real homes rather than just backdrops. This level of detail indoors adds to the sense of a lived-in world. The world map is described as a virtual miniature garden, where simply exploring the diverse terrain and interacting with characters becomes a quest in itself. The realistic system allows for actions like jumping off cliffs to reach new areas or escape dead ends, highlighting the freedom of movement in this 3D space. Living a town doesn't result in a scaled-down map. The world is continuous, with pathways connecting different areas, each offering new encounters and developments, urging the player to keep exploring. This page dives further into the unique world of Landstalker, heir of King Knuckle, describing the adventure as taking place in a varied, miniature garden. It introduces the protagonist, Lyle the treasure hunter, and his companion Friday, a little devil. The article emphasizes that the world map is continuous, explaining how moving between areas feels seamless. It also details interesting mechanics like how the camera works when characters are behind buildings, where they become hidden but are still controllable, though combat doesn't occur in this state. Verticality is explored, showing how characters can control their movement while falling from heights, even landing on intermediate levels. Finally, the page points out the game's humorous side, highlighting the ability to perform reckless actions like jumping on top of other characters or even enemies, a behavior the game world tolerates, sometimes even requiring it for progress. This page showcases some of the diverse rivals and monsters you'll encounter in Landstalker, heir of King Knuckle, alongside a deep dive into the technology that brings its unique world to life. Featured enemies include a deceptive man-eater disguised as a treasure chest, a weak slime, a brutish orc soldier, and interesting rivals like Zwamu, a flying treasure hunter, Goose, a lizard-like swordsman, and Carla, another treasure hunter known for her formidable whip. The article then reveals the secret behind Landstalker's distinctive 3D perspective, the revolutionary DDS 520 or diamond-shaped dimension system. This custom programming system builds the entire world using stacked diamond shapes, allowing for an isometric view with notable height representation. Initially named for a planned 520 maps, the final game boasts over 600. The creation process is illustrated, moving from hand-drawn concept sketches to wireframe models, full 3D environment modeling, and finally, populating the maps with characters and objects. Development of the DDS 520 system was a significant undertaking, taking over a year and evolving the project from a potential entry in the Shining series into its own distinct title, highlighting the effort put into creating this next-generation RPG world. This page features an interview with key development staff from Climax about Landstalkers, heir of King Knuckle, conducted the day after the game's press conference. The individuals featured are Kan Naito, president of Climax, Kenji Orimo, production manager, and Nobuya Nishigaki, general manager. They discussed the massive scale of the game world, likening the interconnected maps to a miniature garden the size of the Tokyo Dome, noting that the map count ultimately surpassed the initial 520 mark. A significant point of discussion is the game's innovative DDS 520 system, and its emphasis on representing height within the isometric perspective, a challenging aspect of development involving creating detailed, stacked rhombus panels. The initial vision for Landstalker is revealed to have been inspired by cinematic adventures like the Indiana Jones series, aiming for an immersive experience that required building a completely new game system. Despite development hurdles, the team expresses satisfaction with the final result, feeling it exceeded their initial concepts. This page delves further into the technical aspects of Landstalker, heir of King Knuckle, focusing on the development of its core engine, the DDS 520 system, designed to reproduce realistic townscapes virtually. The main visual shows a charming isometric view of a seaside village from the game, illustrating the perspective the system achieves. The article examines the thought process behind creating the DDS 520 system, detailing how the team aimed to represent height and depth accurately within the isometric view. This involved structuring maps using intricate rhombus shapes, a method that, while enabling complex environments, also presented significant data management challenges. Prototypes and technical diagrams are shown, illustrating concepts like diagonal scrolling, screen scaling, and the combination of background and object layers. One diagram specifically highlights the challenge and implementation of representing height, crucial for Landstalker's vertical level design. A final comment from General Manager Nishigaki describes the unique feeling of existing in the game's space, likening it to a trip, suggesting the immersive effect the developers were striving for. This page reinforces that Landstalker's innovative perspective and world design were the result of significant technical effort and creative problem-solving. This page provides a look at Splatterhouse Part 2 for the Sega Mega Drive. It details the return of Rick, once again using the Terror Mask to rescue Jennifer. While the mask doesn't grant overt power-ups, the enemies are noted to be somewhat stronger than before, though still manageable for Rick. The game features an 8-stage structure set in a new West mansion. The article previews the opening stages. Stage 1 revisits the ruins of the first game's mansion, where surviving horrors like body eaters reside, leading to a hidden entrance. Stage 2 involves a dangerous elevator descent and underground passage filled with experimental creatures. Stage 3 takes Rick through a swampy area with jumping piranha-like foes. Finally, Stage 4 crosses a bridge to the island housing the new mansion, featuring ambushes from experimental animals coming from all directions. The page highlights various threats and challenges encountered in these initial levels. This page continues the preview of Splatterhouse Part 2, guiding Rick through the later stages of West Mansion. Stage 5 delves deeper into the mansion's lower levels, featuring long corridors, a library, specimen room, and basement, all teeming with animated experiments and requiring the player to be wary of every object. The page highlights finding and using a shotgun weapon to clear these dangerous paths. Stage 6 reaches the altar room, a place of sinister rituals where West has been experimenting with reviving the dead. It's presented as a link between the living and dead worlds, and Rick's goal is to use the ritual to save Jennifer. However, the process isn't straightforward. Attempting it brings Jennifer back momentarily, only for her to be pulled into the world of the dead. This leads to Stage 7, where Rick follows Jennifer into the chilling world of the dead. Survival there requires the Terror Mask, as it's a realm mortals cannot easily enter. The page emphasizes pushing deeper into this terrifying dimension to absolutely rescue Jennifer, warning that opening this realm could also unleash malevolent entities. The overall tone emphasizes Rick's perilous journey to save Jennifer against overwhelming odds, culminating in a showdown in a different dimension. A note from the developer humorously lists the bizarre ingredients West requires for resurrection, including fresh corpses and collected souls. The imagery and text frame the final stages as Rick's ultimate battle, motivated by love. This page focuses on the upcoming Sega Mega Drive port of Data East's unique arcade action game, Atomic Runner Chelnov. It highlights the game's arcade origins from 1988, its simple yet bizarre content, auto-scrolling, and impactful bosses that earned it a cult following. The Mega Drive version is praised for faithfully recreating about 90% of the arcade content, though some minor differences exist in boss patterns and screen details. Notably, the graphics have been significantly updated over the 4 years since the arcade release, looking redrawn and new in comparison screenshots, adapting to the progress in game graphics. The page details Chelnov's weapons and power-ups, including familiar items like the photon beam, light ring, and energy boomerang, and also mentions items that increase different attributes like shot power, rate, and range. Basic operations are explained, including the standard movement, shooting, and jumping, along with special techniques like the spin jump and stomp. The review notes that difficulty settings affect whether the ending is shown. Overall, it presents the Mega Drive port as a high-quality, updated version of the quirky arcade classic. This page delves further into Data East's Atomic Runner, specifically focusing on the game's story and progression through its initial stages. The narrative explains how young scientist Chernov's life is shattered when his father is killed and his sister kidnapped by the Dastarian invaders. Using a combat suit his father secretly developed, Chernov becomes the Atomic Runner, setting out for revenge and rescue. The page then breaks down the first 4 stages. Stage 1, the Dastarian underground base, is where Chernov makes his escape. Stage 2 is the hazardous poison swamp zone, featuring tough enemies like the Gold Ote. Stage 3 takes you to the mysterious jungle, where strange moai statues float in the river. Finally, Stage 4 is the Egyptian-themed desert zone, filled with suspicious backgrounds and enemies. Screenshots accompany each stage description, showcasing the distinct environments, various enemies, and the imposing bosses encountered, such as Neosoda, Gizmo, Grandpass, and Madug. A concluding note highlights the game's unique charm, pointing out the effective body-based attacks and jumps as particularly noteworthy aspects of the gameplay. This page focuses on the fantasy RPG Chisana Majo Rise for the Mega Drive. The majority of the page is dominated by a vibrant, epic illustration depicting a floating landmass featuring a grand castle, a waterfall, a mystical glowing crystal structure, and distant mountains under a dramatic sky with lightning and clouds. Vertical text alongside the illustration reads, "The path left was to fight. That was the fate of the little witch." The bottom of the page features 2 smaller screenshots, providing a glimpse into the game. One shows a picturesque scene with a girl under a tree, described as the prologue, narrating an episode involving the protagonist, Saria, and an incident. The second screenshot displays a top-down view of a character sprite in what appears to be a dungeon or building interior, accompanied by dialogue text. This conversation mentions losing a ruby, which is the source of magic. Highlighting a key plot point early in the game, the description notes that these conversation scenes and the fantasy setting contribute significantly to the game's atmosphere. This page features the fantasy shooting game Twinkletail. The main focus is a large illustration of the protagonist, a young girl in a witch's outfit, standing beside the game's title. The page highlights the game's charming graphics and immersive fantasy world. There are 4 screenshots showcasing gameplay elements. One shows the simple shooting mechanics with weapon switching. Another displays diverse monsters in a fantasy setting. A third emphasizes the detailed 8 meg graphics in a fiery level. And the fourth demonstrates powerful magical attacks like the Fire Dragon Flame Attack and Piercing Light Bullet. The game is presented as the debut title from the new brand was Wonder Amusement Studio, published by Toyo Recording Company, Limited, and was released on July 24th for 7,800 yen. This page announces the upcoming release of Mobile Police Patlabor 98, Patlabor Startup the Type 98, for the Mega Drive. The page highlights the long-awaited release, noting it was expected approximately 2 years prior, making its arrival a relief for waiting fans. It's listed as an adventure game priced at 7,800 yen, with a 4 MB capacity plus battery backup. A status bar shows the game is 95% complete for one player. The article mentions that Mamoru Oshii, the director of the popular Patlabor anime and films, is involved in the Mega Drive version, which should please series fans and ensure an interesting experience. The game system is described as primarily an adventure game, where conversation is key. Movement is in a Dragon Quest-style map view, and surprisingly, there are command-based battles included, which can be important at times. Screenshots show the hangar area with the labors, a detailed display of a Laboros system ver 2.00, the adventure screen featuring character interaction in a room, and a battle screen showing character portraits. This page dives deeper into the gameplay of the upcoming Mobile Police Patlabor game for the Mega Drive. It outlines the player's initial mission as a rookie, patrolling and interacting with key characters like Captain Goto, Noah, and Oda within the 2nd Division headquarters, learning the ropes and gathering information. However, things quickly go south. The game shifts from routine to crisis as the player wakes up locked in their room, discovering a military coup has taken over the base and captured the 2nd Division members. The player must find an escape route, contact allies like Shige from the maintenance team, and embark on a rescue mission. The page shows screenshots of the occupied base from the rooftop, indicating the scale of the problem. The rescue involves interaction and appears to include command-based battles, as shown by a Beamer's attack screenshot against a gorilla bastard. After liberating the 2nd Division, the goal becomes clear: retrieve the Enneagram activation disc and fight back. The developer's note confirms the game is an adventure title, with battle scenes, faithfully recreating the unique world of Patlabor under the design supervision of Mamoru Oshii. It promises an exciting experience for fans. This page focuses on King Salmon, a fishing simulation game coming to the Mega Drive. Set in Alaska and Canada, the game challenges players to catch giant king salmon, some weighing over 100 pounds. It's described as a sports fishing simulation that emphasizes skill, incorporating the core essence of fishing into its gameplay. The game features a simple control scheme using 8 directions and 3 buttons, while more complex actions like setting up your tackle are handled through menus, making it accessible even for beginners. King Salmon is structured into 4 stages. The first 3 are qualification or tournament stages, culminating in the Salmon Derby, a large annual tournament in Vancouver where anglers compete for a substantial prize. Successfully qualifying allows players to advance. The final, 4th stage shifts from tournament play to a challenge for a world record catch, focusing on the weight of a single fish. The game also includes a fisherman leveling system. Based on the total weight of salmon caught, your character's stats like arm power, stamina, and technique will improve, helping you land those massive fish and overcome challenges. This page continues the look at the King Salmon fishing game, detailing the gameplay flow. It explains the map system, which has a wide area map for travel and a point map for fishing. You use the wide map to find promising areas, then switch to the point map where messages indicate potential fishing spots, focusing on places where depth changes or near schools of fish. Once you've found a spot, you set your tackle, choosing the lure, depth, and line length, noting that a longer line offers longer casts but takes more effort to reel in. Getting a bite leads to the fight, where the screen shifts to an overhead view of the fish. Successfully setting the hook requires good timing, and then reeling brings the fish in automatically. The game also features bycatch, meaning you might catch fish other than king salmon, such as pink or silver salmon, and surprisingly, even sharks. Fights with large fish can also trigger random trouble events. The game's developers humorously comment on enjoying the catch, suggesting preparing the salmon as ishikari nabe, the roe marinated in soy sauce, and even making shark fin soup if you reel in a shark. This page dives into the upcoming horizontal scrolling shooter, Glile Lancer. With its release nearing, the focus here is placed squarely on mastering the interaction between your ship's main weapon and the gunner options. The article highlights that while you can jump into the game without knowing the nuances, understanding the different gunner types and their compatibility with weapons makes the experience far more engaging. It runs through several modes for the gunner options: normal, which fires forward; search, which automatically targets enemies; reverse, which fires opposite your movement direction; multi, allowing multiple options; multi-reverse, combining those behaviors; shadow, where the options trail your ship; and roll, where options orbit you. Each mode has distinct advantages and disadvantages depending on the situation and the weapon equipped, encouraging players to experiment with combinations like search with lasers for auto-targeting power, or using roll with Vulcan shots for defensive coverage. Additionally, the page touches upon the story progression, noting that while the narrative unfolds during gameplay, specific demo scenes that advance the plot don't appear after every single stage, but rather at key points, often after several stages are cleared. One screenshot shows a character from one of these story sequences, implying that dedicated players will need to progress significantly to see how the plot develops. The multiple screenshots across the page illustrate the different gunner formations in action. This page continues the deep dive into Glile Lancer, focusing on stages 4 through 7. Stage 4, Planet Azu, is a fast-scrolling maze-like environment demanding precise movement through narrow passages. Stage 5 introduces a massive boss battle against the battleship Nito in space, where targeting specific points is crucial. Stage 6, Planet Ruma, features a unique Western-themed landscape and a challenging, unavoidable electromagnetic barrier. Stage 7, Planet Tifa, is set in a crystal cave that players must blast through, emphasizing creating your own path and avoiding dangers while waiting for backup. The page also includes compelling character art and poignant dialogue snippets, hinting at the game's dramatic storyline, particularly the emotional plea, "Dad, don't die." The message from the development team highlights that the game's difficulty scales reasonably across its 8+ stages, and promises significant replay value with new discoveries on each playthrough. This page introduces the Mega Drive game Shura no Mon, a simulation game based on the popular fighting manga of the same name. Released on August 7th for 6,800 yen, this 8 cartridge game for one player boasts 100% completion rate according to the gauge shown. The main selling point emphasized is its faithful story development, directly adapting the manga from volumes 1 through 10. The game focuses on bringing the highlights of the original work to life through extensive visual scenes, utilizing the large cartridge capacity. Unlike typical action fighting games, battles are handled via command input, making it accessible even to those less skilled in action games. However, the text notes that fans of the manga will get the most enjoyment, suggesting reading the source material first for the full experience. The story follows protagonist Mutsu Tsukumo as he challenges the Shinbukan Dojo, featuring dramatic moments and character interactions depicted in numerous visual sequences. This page delves into the gameplay mechanics of Shura no Mon, confirming its unique approach as a command input fighting simulation. Battles aren't action-based. Instead, players select techniques from a menu. The flow involves the opponent attacking, you choosing a defensive move, then you choosing an attack, and finally watching the result play out in animation. Building your ki, or spirit gauge by resting, is crucial, as a full gauge allows you to unleash powerful techniques, including the secret arts of the Onmyoryu style. The article emphasizes the challenging array of opponents Tsukumo faces, each possessing distinct fighting styles, such as long-range kicks or joint locks. Adapting your strategy based on their techniques becomes essential, especially in the latter half of the game. The page highlights key figures like Ryuzoji Teishin, the living martial god, and the 4 demon dragons of the Shinbukan Dojo, Tateyama, Izumi, Sugata, and Kai. Several dynamic screenshots illustrate special moves, like Izumi's swallow consecutive kicks, and the Enmeryu's Mukuha Palm Strike. The game promises faithfulness to the manga, even including different martial arts styles like pro wrestling later on. A note from the developers expresses initial uncertainty about this unprecedented genre, but confidence in the final visual and sound quality. This page announces a special project and contest, celebrating the 3rd anniversary of Beep Mega Drive magazine. The main event is the generous Wonder Mega Acquisition Quiz, aiming to help readers become power users by potentially winning a Sega Wonder Mega console, which is the Japanese version of the Sega CD. 2 winners will receive a Wonder Mega unit, plus 2 recommended game titles from the Beep Mega editorial staff, shown here as the cartridges for World Heroes and Slapfight MD. The quiz itself is a person-finding game. Readers are challenged to locate Eric, described as a nice foreigner who writes a column for the magazine, within a large photo grid of a crowded event floor. The grid is labeled with letters AF vertically and numbers 110 horizontally, making it a classic grid-based search puzzle. Contestants are instructed to provide the grid location where they find Eric as their answer. The magazine encourages everyone to participate in this special anniversary event. This page presents the Double Chance Quiz, offering consolation prizes for those who didn't win the Sega Wonder Mega in the previous contest. It features a large grid showcasing various third-party developers, each offering unique prizes like game goods, telecards, models, or even PC game sets. Readers choose their favorite developer and answer a 3-question quiz related to one of their games for a chance to win. The quizzes cover a wide range of titles, testing players' knowledge on games such as Landstalker, Thunder Force IV, Splatterhouse Part 2, the Ernest Evans series, Battlemania, and Shining Force. Other questions delve into details about games like Lemmings, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2, Lunar, Twinkletail, Chelnov, and Speedball 2. The entry method is straightforward. Answer the 3 questions for your chosen developer on a postcard, along with your details and your finding from the previous Find Eric quiz. The deadline for entries is the end of July, with results announced in the October magazine issue. This layout effectively turns the page into a fun, interactive game show, celebrating the diversity of games available for the system. This page delves into the world of multimedia, specifically highlighting Broderbund's Living Books series. Titled Multimedia Declaration, the article argues that just like a good name is important, so is the presentation of multimedia works. It praises Living Books as living picture books, featuring interactive elements where clicking objects on the screen brings them to life with animation and narration. The article touches on the concept of leveraging famous creators, mentioning Broderbund and their focus on animal and ghost-themed series, and also references to Shiba Emi's Alice, likely Alice in Wonderland, on Macintosh, as another example of multimedia work. The core focus is on living books, described as suitable for children, but enjoyable for everyone. The concept is simple. Turn the page, and the story unfolds with animation and narration, but the real fun comes from clicking around. Elements like a mailbox that produces different things, a squirrel jumping from a tree, or characters dancing when clicked, make the pages interactive and engaging. The series also features multi-language support, including English, Spanish, and Japanese, a point the author particularly appreciates. The page includes screenshots of what appear to be scenes from a living book title, showing a space plant and character faces, along with a graphic highlighting the smooth animation and narration. The author concludes by suggesting that high-quality multimedia like living books sets a standard, and interactive, living picture books may become the norm. This page features the second installment of the B Mega Paranoia Empire column, titled Cyberpunk. The article explores the concept of cyberpunk, spurred by the recent release of cyberpunkish games like Rise of the Dragon on Mega CD and Konami's Snatcher on the PC Engine. The author notes their clear influence from the movie Blade Runner, but questions if Blade Runner alone defines cyberpunk. The column traces cyberpunk's origins to science fiction literature from the early 1980s, mentioning Bruce Bethke's short story, Cyberpunk, and key authors like William Gibson, known for works like Neuromancer and the Sprawl Trilogy, and Bruce Sterling, author of Islands in the Net. It defines cyberpunk as futuristic stories, where the development of computers and technology dramatically alters human existence and worldview, leading to things like cyborg bodies becoming commonplace, and a shift in perceptions of crime and ethics. The author concludes by suggesting that the image of cyberpunk might be more widespread than a true understanding of its core concepts, wondering if they are alone in feeling this. The page includes images of several influential cyberpunk book covers at the bottom, including Neuromancer, Mona Lisa Overdrive, Frontera, Eclipse, and Islands in the Net. This page features a significant promotion for the Barcode Battler 2, highlighted as the second stage of expanding play. This unique device utilizes barcodes from everyday products to generate RPG-like characters and items, featuring a memory backup system and scaling power levels, available for pre-order at a special price of 6,200 yen. The page also lists upcoming game releases for the Super Famicom, including titles like Street Fighter II, Dragon Quest V, Super Mario World, and Mother 2, detailing their release dates and prices. Below that, there's a section for Super CD and PC Engine CD-ROM squared titles, featuring the upcoming Cosmic Fantasy II-1, final chapter scheduled for September, alongside other CDBA-SED games like Dungeon Master. The page concludes with a retail advertisement for GameBank, providing contact and ordering information for these featured titles via phone or mail order. This page features a fantastic promotion. Buy a Mega Drive console bundle including Sonic the Hedgehog and 2 other games of your choice from a list of 6 classics like Space Harrier 2, Truxton, or Forgotten Worlds, all for just 17,800 yen plus shipping. This is a solid entry point into the Mega Drive library. The main body of the page is dedicated to a huge mail-order catalog from GameBank, listing a vast selection of Mega Drive titles available for purchase with their prices and release information. You can also order the Wonder Mega Console and the Essential MD Backup RAM through their service. There's even a section highlighting available Mega CD titles like Dark Wizard and Rise of the Dragon. GameBank also promotes its unique telephone information service. For about 40 yen a minute, you can get game recommendations, information, and even what they call backdoor info, straight from the experts. Plus, they run a monthly lottery, where you can win a game just by calling in and sending a postcard with a keyword. It sounds like a great resource for getting the lowdown on games before you buy. This page kicks off a new section for Climax Entertainment, titled Climax Kingdom. It features an introduction from Kazuhiro Naito, who has taken over as president of Climax, allowing Sonic creator Yuji Naka, mentioned as Takahashi focusing on Sonic Team, more freedom. This leadership change signifies a new direction for the company and this column. The main feature is a production report on the highly anticipated action RPG, Landstalker. The Treasures of King Knoll, written by Shihandai Ohori. He announces the game's development is well underway, sitting at about 50% complete as of June 15th, and promises monthly updates on its progress. Ohori details the dynamic character movements and the unique development process involving Naito himself. A screenshot shows off the game's distinctive isometric perspective. Finally, a light-hearted note reveals the team's stress relief. A classic Continental slot machine has been brought into the office, proving profitable this month with a significant win reported. This page features the second installment of Hiroshi Naito's Here We Go column, where the new president of Climax recounts his participation in an RC Tamiya F1 Grand Prix race on June 13th. Fresh off the Landstalker announcement, he notes his lack of practice due to game development but still competed, discussing racing tactics like tire settings and managing spinouts. Despite aiming for a better time, his best lap was 11,273, and he finished 12th out of 40 participants after encountering issues in the qualifying heat. Photos show his Tamiya 1/10 McLaren RC car and racers competing. A separate section titled This Month's Theme, Gal Game Life, features a discussion between Nakajima 1610, president of the Climax Gal Game Fan Club and the deputy graphics director for Landstalker, and Tamaki. They delve into the nature of Gal games, defining them as titles featuring young, shy, female protagonists and interactions. They then announce the winner of the first Climax Gal Game Grand Prize, awarding it to Game Arts for Alicia Dragoon. A screenshot of Alicia Dragoon, known internationally by the same name, accompanies the announcement, showcasing its action platforming gameplay and UC elements. The page also includes a reader mail section, asking for letters on various topics, and a small Omake bonus manga strip by Tamaki, offering a lighthearted comic relief alongside a request for reader postcards. This page features a special interview with Masamitsu Nitani, president of Compile, celebrating the company's 10th anniversary. It delves into the history and future ambitions of the studio, known for classic shooters, like the Alesti series. Space Megaforce. The interview highlights that while Compile is famous for its shooters, they also developed popular pinball games, like Devil's Crush on the PC Engine, a fact surprisingly lesser known. President Nitani expresses a strong desire for Compile to tackle a wide range of genres beyond just shooting games for their anniversary. The page includes a timeline of Compile's releases, showcasing their diverse history, including titles like MUSHA on the Mega Drive and the Madu Monogatari series, the origin of Puyo Puyo. They discuss upcoming projects, including Denjin Aleste, an RPG, pinball games, and even a potential Denjin 2, emphasizing the company's shift towards diversification. A photo of President Nitani accompanies the interview, who reflects on Compile's journey from its beginnings to its future challenges. This page continues the special interview with Compile President Masamitsu Nitani. He elaborates on the company's philosophy of balancing serious development with an element of fun. The discussion revisits Compile's strong legacy in shooting games, highlighting titles like Xanac and the Aleste series, acknowledging the significant contribution of a core programmer to these hits. Nitani also discusses their involvement in pinball games like Alien Crush, explaining the design concepts. He emphasizes Compile's ambition to diversify beyond shooters, discussing plans for the Disk Station platform and exploring other genres, including puzzle games for arcades and future RPGs and arcade shooters. The interview concludes with a postscript noting the president's earnest desire for Compile to be known for excellence across various genres, not just shooting games, anticipating a future where pinball Compile and RPG Compile are common terms. Brief summary. Compile president discusses philosophy, shooter history, Aleste, Xanac, pinball, Alien Crush, and plans for genre diversification into RPGs, puzzle, and more. This page features an article on the game or concept Crying the Sublife War. It delves into the press story set on Avalon, the Land of Dreams, a planet modified by unmanned spacecraft and chosen as a potential human habitat. The narrative describes terrifying bioweapons created through life modification, presenting a significant threat. The article details various locations on Avalon, including the main settlement known as the City, a mountain range dubbed the Matterhorn by settlers due to its resemblance to Earth's, and an island on the ocean hosting experimental facilities, including a hidden bomb designed as a failsafe. The page also announces the results of a reader contest, where fans submitted their ideas for enemy attack methods, featuring illustrations of some winning entries showcasing unique and creative concepts. This page continues the unfolding narrative of Crying the Sublife War and the plight of the human colony on Avalon. It describes how a decade of building a new home was dramatically interrupted by increased cosmic radiation, which mutated an experimental virus, unleashing a devastating biohazard upon the planet. The article highlights the difficult choices faced by James, the protagonist, who decides the only course of action may be to activate a dormant bioweapon. Transitioning to the gameplay, the feature focuses on the terrifying enemies the player will encounter. Specifically detailed are the marine life sublife forms inhabiting Avalon's seas, describing them as aggressive creatures attacking from the depths or coastal slopes. We learn the game consists of 10 stages, with gameplay challenges including movement restricted by deep-sea pressure. The page includes unsettling illustrations of these alien marine foes, and a small screenshot showing a player's score. This page features Eric C. Sedensky's column, detailing his personal game experiences. Titled, Riveting Game Experience Log, The Reason I Like RPGs, Eric reflects on his gaming journey. He recounts buying a Mega Drive and initially playing action and sports titles, as they were prevalent in early 1990. However, his true passion lies with RPGs. He highlights his extensive experience with tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons during his college years in America. Eric explains how these games, played with books, dice, and companions, emphasize strategy, imagination, and the crucial role of a game master who directs the narrative and rules. He contrasts this with action games, stressing that RPGs require critical thinking rather than just quick reflexes. Transitioning to video games, Eric notes that while many RPGs exist for the Mega Drive, finding one that truly gripped him took time. He found such a game in Phantasy Star IV, which captivated him for 4 months, even leading him to restart occasionally. He praises its compelling graphics, music, and unpredictable story. Eric states he now owns almost every RPG released for the Mega Drive and Mega CD. He also expresses optimism that CD-ROMs are well suited for RPGs, promising richer experiences in the future. A side panel further elaborates on tabletop RPGs, clarifying their nature and mentioning Dungeons & Dragons' popularity in the US compared to Japan. This page features the 7th installment of the Portraits of Adventurers column, written by Shi Kishi, focusing on Professor Jameson from the sci-fi stories by Neil R. Jones. The column explores the unique nature of this adventurer. It describes how Professor Jameson, a British scientist, ends up having his brain transplanted into a mechanical body after his death, becoming an immortal coffin satellite. His adventures span millions of years as he travels the universe, encountering advanced alien races like the Zoffel, who also exist as brains in mechanical bodies. The text highlights his survival through various perils, including being trapped on a runaway spaceship. It details how he allies with evolving alien civilizations, defeats monsters, and simply continues wandering the cosmos purely for the sake of adventure. The illustration shows Professor Jameson in his distinctive robotic form. This column continues the magazine's exploration of adventurous figures, extending beyond video games into other forms of fiction. This page serves as a guide for readers on how to complete the magazine's survey postcard. It details the process for marking answers on the form, including filling in bubbles for demographic questions like gender, age, and occupation, as well as ownership of Mega Drive games and other systems such as the Super Famicom, PC Engine, Neo Geo, and Mega CD. The survey also asks readers to comment on what game ports they'd like to see on the Mega Drive, and to rank articles they found interesting or uninteresting in the current issue. A key part of the survey is selecting which game the reader is most eager to purchase from a large list provided on the page. This extensive list includes many prominent titles like Thunder Force IV, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Phantasy Star IV, and Landstalker, offering a snapshot of popular and anticipated releases at the time. The survey helps the magazine gather valuable feedback on reader preferences and market trends. This page features a bold question about Sega's momentum heading into the summer, declaring the announcements of two massive titles, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Phantasy Star IV. It highlights Sonic 2, confirming simultaneous two-player gameplay and teasing the character with two Tails, suggesting his role as the second-player character. The page also previews Phantasy Star IV, showcasing screenshots and artwork, promising a return to the graphical quality and excitement of the earlier entries in the legendary RPG series, with a planned release in 1993. The page structure also lists reports from the Tokyo Toy Show and the Summer CES in the USA, alongside a special discussion panel. This page is clearly building hype for Sega's major releases and their presence at key industry events. This page is a report from the Tokyo Toy Show, following up on Sega's strong showing previewed on the previous page. It details the Sega booth, which was packed and lively, drawing huge crowds despite less emphasis on hardware compared to the previous year's Mega CD announcement. The focus was squarely on a large lineup of new software from Sega and third parties. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is highlighted as the summer's main event, confirming its release and teasing the character known as Tails. The report also covers a prototype controller for the Mega Drive, featuring an interesting shape with added trigger buttons on the back, noted as a clever idea currently under development. Major software highlights include Streets of Rage 2 for the Mega Drive, praised for its large size, 16 megabit, excellent controls, and cooperative play from the original, with anticipation for new characters. It's positioned as a key title set to compete with the popular fighting game genre, aiming for a late-year release. The page also features Warao Salesman for the Mega CD, an adaptation of the anime. While only a graphical demo was shown, the visuals were noted as being impressively close to the original animation, with an autumn release planned. The Tokyo Toy Show highlighted a mix of Super Famicom and Mega Drive games, though the latter felt less represented. Victor's Wonder Mega was present, along with NAL's UFO Catcher and game tournaments. Noteworthy titles included Thunder Force IV and Night Striker. NEC showcased CD-ROM picture books and PC Engine games. Nintendo and third-party developers like Capcom also exhibited, with Capcom's Street Fighter II booth and Dragon Quest vs. drawing crowds. The event was described as a paradise for toy and game enthusiasts, with praise for the staff. David Robinson's Basketball and Gods impressed with graphics and gameplay. Spotlighted games included the unique Switch, the action-packed Mazinger Saga, and a Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck platformer. And others section listed titles for Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear, including Glock, Gauntlet, and several Mega CD games. The Game Gear corner featured Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Monaco GP2, and others. This page provides a report from the summer CES 92 show, focusing on Sega's presence and a major announcement. The big news is the official reveal of the Sega CD, known as Mega CD in Japan, for the American market, with an anticipated launch in October. The article highlights the potential of the CD-ROM format for faster, more detailed games, and notes the strong backing from 9 third-party developers, including Sierra and Virgin Games. The report also touches on popular Genesis/Mega Drive games showcased. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is singled out as incredibly popular, building immense hype following the success of the original. Streets of Rage 2 is also mentioned as receiving significant attention. The author observes a growing trend towards games based on characters from other media like comics and movies. Images on the page show the Sega booth with demo screens, the Sega CD hardware unit connected to a Genesis, and mascots of Sonic and Chester Cheetah meeting attendees. There's also a list of numerous planned Sega CD titles promising a diverse range of games for the new platform, including titles like Adventures of Willy Beamish, Prince of Persia, Thunderstorm, and Terminator 2, among many others. The Batman Returns Genesis box art is also featured. This page continues the report from Summer CES 92, delving deeper into Sega's offerings and touching on Nintendo's presence. Sega unveiled the Menacer, a light gun accessory for the Genesis, presented as a more compact alternative to Nintendo's Super Scope. The article highlights the strong showing of Sega's third-party partners, mentioning titles like the Sierra Adventure games, King's Quest V, and Space Quest IV, Virgin's Terminator releases, and Data East's Captain America and the Avengers. It notes the Game Gear's surprising vitality in the US market despite its struggles in Japan, showcasing games like Marble Madness, Paperboy, and Prince of Persia. Switching focus, the report covers Nintendo's booth, emphasizing their reliance on character licenses and new peripherals like the mouse for Mario Paint as they attempt to gain ground. Finally, the Japanese Wonder Mega, an integrated Genesis/Mega CD system, is presented as generating significant interest among American users. Overall, the page captures the competitive atmosphere of the show, with Sega pushing new hardware and strong third-party support, while Nintendo counters with familiar characters and new ways to play. This page features a special roundtable discussion between the editors of the American magazine Megaplay and BeepMD. They cover the competitive landscape in the US market, particularly focusing on the rivalry between the Genesis and the Super NES. The discussion highlights Sega's aggressive pricing strategy, dropping the Genesis price significantly below the Super NES. They also delve into the launch of the Mega CD in the US, noting its price point and the included software titles upon release. The conversation touches upon notable games available or anticipated, such as the racing game based on Batman Returns, Lode Runner featuring manga characters, and the highly anticipated Street of Rage 2. A large image shows the cover of the US Megaplay magazine, showcasing some of the prominent Genesis titles being reviewed, including Bulls vs. Lakers, Turbo Outrun, Splatterhouse 2, and Street of Rage 2. A caption describes the magazine as a leading US Genesis publication featuring reviews and strategy guides. A bar chart visually compares the number of software titles released for the Mega Drive/Genesis in Japan and the use from 1988 to 1991. The chart shows a steady increase in titles in both regions, but the accompanying text points out that the US market has seen a significantly higher number of releases since 1990, attributing this to strong third-party support and a thriving market. The future outlook for Mega CD software in the US is also briefly discussed. The next page delves into a discussion about Sega's performance, asking if they are still hot. The interviewees compare light gun accessories, finding Sega's design superior to Nintendo's Super Scope. They express disappointment with the lack of new titles at the Japanese toy show, though they praise Phantasy Star IV. The conversation shifts to the US market's preparation for the Sega CD, noting Sierra Online is bringing some of their PC CD-ROM titles over. There's a strong call for more games and promotion for the Sega CD, acknowledging the challenge of launching with a limited library compared to the hope of 20 simultaneous releases. Later, they discuss the reception of Shining Force in the Allegis, mentioning the popularity of other titles like Shining in the Darkness. A key observation is the US market's reliance on famous characters like Terminator, Batman, and Superman to drive sales, making it tough for games based on less-known properties. A major piece of news is revealed. Sega of America is partnering with Sony Electronic Publishing. This means Sony will develop games as a third party for the Genesis and Sega CD in the US. This significant development raises questions about the Japanese market and the potential impact of Sony's own PlayStation plans, hinting at a future where Sega of America pursues multimedia projects like educational Cradrom titles independently. This page announces the formation of GSAT, Sega's fifth game creation group, following the likes of Sonic Team, Sega/Falcom, and Sims. Described as a flexible creative unit, GSAT will focus on developing games and character merchandise. They currently have 3 projects underway, targeting a slightly older demographic of high school students and adults, with 2 of these games planned for the Sega CD. The team is focusing on character-driven titles and exploring genres like simulation, RPG, and thoughtful action. The page also features a chart illustrating the magazine's readership trends from 1989 to 1992, showing a shift towards college students and salarymen/cruels, providing context for GSAT's target audience discussion. An image shows 3 individuals, presumably key members of the new studio, in discussion. This page features an interview with key members of Sega's GSAT studio, including producer Masato Watanabe, chief programmer Tadashi Ono, and director Kuji Ishii, under the title, "I Want to Make a Real Game." They outline GSAT's vision to create high-quality, character-focused games aimed at an older audience of high school students and adults. The team emphasizes their desire to develop technically impressive titles that stand out and win awards. They discuss their backgrounds and motivations, highlighting the influence of games like Mother. The page reveals details about GSAT's upcoming projects, including their first title, a highly anticipated RPG featuring popular characters suitable for families. Other projects mentioned include a simulation game utilizing designs by manga artist Hisaichi Ishii and interactive adventure games in the style of titles like A-Train and L-Zone, screenshots of which are shown. GSAT aims to satisfy dedicated core gamers while also broadening the appeal to new players. This page kicks off the Mega CD press section, offering a first look at upcoming Mega CD releases. The highlight here is Thunderstorm FX from Wolf Team, a highly anticipated rail shooter. The reviewer is clearly impressed, declaring it quite amazing and praising the smooth graphics which demonstrate the potential of the Mega CD hardware. The concept of adapting Laserdisc games is highlighted as an innovative approach. Gameplay involves quickly targeting enemies marked with a yellow frame using the aiming cursor, with strategic weapon selection for different targets and timely evasive maneuvers indicated by arrows. Screenshots showcase the intense action view, displaying the main screen, score, lives, and target system. The game is noted as being 80% complete and supporting 1 player. This section previews a diverse range of titles set to arrive on the Mega CD, including games like 3x3 Eyes, Dark Wizard, Afterburner 2Y, Lunar, The Silver Star, Rise of the Dragon, and Robo Aleste on subsequent pages. This page explores Stage 1 of Thunderstorm FX, offering tips, alongside a look back at Super Thunderblade. This page covers Stages 2 and 3 of Thunderblade 2. Stage 2 takes you through the Grand Canyon, where natural walls hinder your progress. You'll battle ground turrets and aircraft. Remember, attacking ground targets changes your cursor. The narrow canyon is fraught with sudden dangers like landslides. Stage 3 shifts to a naval area. While battleships are present, the main challenge is intense dogfighting against waves of fighter jets, especially those launching from aircraft carriers. The page points out the difficulty spikes in the mid-stage dogfights and mentions similar scenarios existing in the previous game, Super Thunderblade. This page dives into the Mega CD RPG, 3x3 Eyes, Seima Densetsu, finally unveiling new screenshots. The game, based on the popular manga, is slated for a December release and is currently reported to be 50% complete. The text highlights that the game covers volumes 1 through 8 of the original manga, offering a detailed adaptation. The main focus here is the first public look at the battle scenes. Screenshots show a turn-based RPG system featuring character portraits with dialogue during combat sequences. The reviewer is particularly impressed with the graphics and character animation, noting the battles feel dynamic, almost like an action game, with high-quality visuals. Key characters like Pai and Yakumo are featured in the battle screens, alongside various monsters and even a boss character. The game includes voice acting and animation sequences, with options to turn off animation for faster battles. An auto battle feature is also present, allowing players to speed through easier encounters once they reach a certain level. The page emphasizes that the developers have put significant effort into the battle presentation. This page provides an in-depth look at the Sega Mega CD title, Dark Wizard. Described as a formation RPG, the game casts you as one of 4 potential Holy Kings, each offering a unique scenario that branches the story all the way to the ending. The evil sorcerer Veronese has unleashed his formidable 4 heavenly kings: Flame Demon Karma, Water Beast Pataz SBA, Earth Beast Dagberg, and Wind Demon Gandul, who have conquered most of the land. Your mission is to reclaim territory, castle by castle, and ultimately defeat Veronese himself in Ibis Castle. Gameplay involves navigating the world map and exploring liberated towns and villages. Here, you can visit familiar RPG staples like weapon and item shops, inns, and churches to gather information or recover. The magazine notes that the availability of items and equipment can vary between towns, presenting a unique challenge. It also highlights that churches offer valuable information, a somewhat uncommon feature in RPGs of the time. Screenshots showcase the game's interface for town interaction and character portraits for the Heavenly Kings and Veronese. Dark Wizard is scheduled for a September 1992 release and is currently reported as 70% complete, promising extensive content leveraging the Mega Creaty's capacity, including significant animation sequences. This page continues the deep dive into the Sega Mega CD strategy RPG Dark Wizard. It explains that the game is structured like a campaign across 23 distinct maps that you clear one by one. A key element is contracting units from various types, including humanoids like humans, elves, and dwarves, as well as monster types like sirens, dragons, and skeletons. You'll need to wisely manage these units and defend territories you've conquered to fend off the enemy forces. The article emphasizes the visual spectacle, leveraging the Mega Creaty's capacity for extensive animation. Battles unfold with dynamic sequences, like a fiery dragon confronting a knight, which the reviewer highlights as particularly impressive. Character portraits are also detailed, with glimpses of figures like Imelda and her retainers, Fathom and Mai, whose roles in the story are teased. The game allows players to personalize their experience by changing the names of their Holy King and followers. Development is progressing quickly, targeting a September release, making this a must-check fantasy SLG for the fall season. This page focuses on the upcoming Sega Mega CD title, Afterburner II. Described as an evolution of the arcade hit Strike Fighter, the Japanese arcade title for Afterburner II, the article provides an update on its development progress. As of June 18th, the game is nearing completion, with a progress bar showing 90% done and a late August release planned for 8,400 yen. The report highlights newly added ground stages, featuring thrilling low-altitude flight close to the terrain. The game's animation is praised for its smoothness, resembling polygon processing, and the visual fidelity, especially the metallic texture of the fighter and missile details, is noted as impressive, maintaining the arcade look. The opening sequence is also complete, depicting an F-14, believed to be the aircraft, launching from a base with narration. The article mentions an interview with the development staff from Chris, suggesting insights into the game's creation. Screenshots showcase the intense low-altitude perspective, elements of the cockpit display, missile graphics, and the F-14 takeoff sequence from multiple dynamic angles, including a detailed cockpit view. This page features an interview with the development staff at Cry about the upcoming Sega Mega CD title, Afterburner II. The developers state that the programming for the game is about 80% complete, with work on graphics and enemy placement still ongoing. Development began in early 1993, with the title, Afterburner II, chosen due to brand recognition and its positioning as the third game in the series by Sega and Kring. Key challenges mentioned are the Mega Kid's limited RAM and data read speed, impacting features like smooth animation and sound. Interestingly, they are extracting graphical data directly from the arcade rooms of the original Strike Fighter, Afterburner II. A large arcade cabinet of the Strike Fighter is shown in the development room, serving as a model. The page also includes photos of the development team and explains the core Afterburner mechanic in the game, along with various gameplay screenshots. This page celebrates the release of the highly anticipated RPG, Lunar, the Silver Star for the Sega Mega CD. It highlights the long wait and the excitement surrounding the game finally reaching players. The content serves as a helpful guide, offering data not fully covered in the manual. Several screenshots showcase key moments and characters from the game, including the protagonist Alex and the heroine Luna, in iconic scenes like the boat ride and a bathhouse moment. There's also a scene featuring the merchant couple, and a dynamic battle screenshot illustrating the game's combat. Accompanying text includes brief comments and questions related to these scenes, such as, "What are you doing?" and "What will become of them?" The page also includes a significant section detailing magic spells for various characters, including Alex, Nash, Mia, Jessica, and Luna. This is presented as a data reference for players. The article encourages readers who haven't yet experienced Lunar to pick it up, praising it as the best RPG available on the Mega CD platform. The next page continues the comprehensive guide for Lunar, the Silver Star, this time focusing on detailed item data. It presents extensive tables covering a wide array of equipment and usable items available in the game. The data is organized into categories including standard weapons, magic weapons, ranged weapons, and various types of defensive gear like armor, headwear, shields, and gauntlets. There's also a large section dedicated to usable items, broken down into battle items, recovery items, and miscellaneous items. Each entry typically lists the item's name, its cost, in silver currency, and its specific effects, such as boosting attack, defense, magic resistance, restoring HP or MP, or providing unique status effects. The introductory text emphasizes that while the narrative is Lunar's primary strength, uncovering the various item effects is a significant source of enjoyment. It encourages players to thoroughly explore dungeons, suggesting that some of the most powerful items are hidden away rather than simply available in stores. The screenshot on the page depicts a dynamic battle scene, showing the player party engaging with enemies, visually complementing the item data provided for combat. A small caption references a rotten lunchbox, a quirky detail fitting the game's charm. This page features a comparison between the Mega CD version of Ply, The Legend of the Eight Orbs, and the PC Engine version. The game is a highly anticipated RPG scheduled for release on September 10th. Listed as an RPG/CD-ROM title for one player, currently at 70% completion. The comparison focuses on key aspects of the game experience. Regarding animation scenes, the Mega CD version uses the same graphics engine as the PC version, but boasts faster access times and perfect sound synchronization, unlike the PC engine, which sometimes has sync issues. For battle scenes, the PC Engine version is described as looking somewhat old-fashioned. In contrast, the Mega CD version features dynamic scaling enemies and animated character special abilities, giving it a more modern and immersive feel. Finally, the field screen is highlighted as the game's main interface. The PC Engine version only displays the map on the right half of the screen with less detail, while the Mega CD version shows the full screen with highly detailed maps and clear status information, making it much easier to understand your position. Overall, the article strongly suggests the Mega CD version offers significant improvements over the PC Engine release across these critical areas. This page delves into the story and characters of Chapter 1 in Ply, The Legend of the Eight Orbs, the game discussed on the previous page. It introduces Gonza and Mai, siblings from the Wash tribe, who are the first of the Eight Orb Warriors. Their journey begins as they seek revenge against the nine-tailed fox, Ninetail, who killed their parents. The article recounts key events in Chapter 1, including the appearance of the Eight Orbs, and Mai being kidnapped by Bidor's soldiers. Screenshots display the turn-based battle system, showing character stats and command options, and the world map view as players explore the island. The difficulty for this initial chapter is noted as low, allowing players to learn the game's systems. A section highlights some of the monsters encountered in Chapter 1, such as the Mossman who often carries money, the easily defeated choking grass, the high-attack giant ant that might drop healing items, and the troublesome great toad that uses poison attacks. The page concludes by setting the stage for the ongoing adventure after the events of the first chapter. This page introduces the cyberpunk adventure game Rise of the Dragon, focusing on the crucial elements of time management and navigating the game world. The article highlights that time passes in the game, with concepts like morning, noon, night, and even dates being important. Players need to pay attention to the clock, especially since the main character needs sleep at night. Business hours for locations like the police station are also mentioned as a factor. Movement within the game is primarily done via the subway for long distances or on foot for shorter ones. The map view shows key locations like Blade's apartment, Annice's place, City Hall, and the Pleasure Dome, which are accessible via the subway initially. Screenshots show the main character sleeping, interacting with a computer screen, likely displaying video evidence, the exterior of City Hall, interior views of Blade's apartment including the bedroom, bathroom, and a cabinet, and the city map used for travel. The article also briefly mentions using the video phone in Blade's apartment, which requires an InMoid card. Overall, the page emphasizes that success in the game relies heavily on managing time effectively and understanding the layout of the city. This guide section for Rise of the Dragon details key locations and investigative strategies. City Hall, with its police department, connects to the warehouse district and requires careful observation and interaction to gather information. Players must use a cursor to find interactive elements and talk to people, paying attention to business hours. The guide highlights connections between subway, warehouse, City Hall lobby, mayor's office, records room, and an alley. The Pleasure Dome, a hub for younger people, demands entry through a security check. The location features a bouncer, a bar, and a stage. Anice's room is her apartment, but she's typically found in the records room. Investigation relies on moving between locations and gathering information by conversing with people. The guide emphasizes the need to avoid antagonizing potential informants. Screenshots hint at dynamic action and confrontations. This page focuses on 4th unit for the Mega CD, described as the 4th game in the series. The article introduces the game's system and characters, promising an impressive visual experience facilitated by Data West's DAPS system, which is noted as being patent pending. The core gameplay is presented as an icon-based adventure game. Instead of traditional text messages, responses to player actions using icons are delivered entirely through character voice acting, creating a strong sense of immersion and presence. The feeling is described as surprisingly deep and enjoyable, with even watching the characters' reactions being entertaining. The page illustrates several command icons. Look, for examining the screen. Talk, to converse with characters. Think, to consider the situation. Examine, to investigate objects or oneself. And Save Load, standard game progression management. A comparison is made to the FM Towns version, highlighting a key difference in the interface. While the Mega CD uses icons, the FM Towns version features a timer and life meter, suggesting a more time-sensitive and potentially less forgiving system, where choosing the correct action under pressure is crucial. The FM Towns experience is likened to a quiz. Screenshots display character portraits, dynamic action scenes featuring the protagonists, and the game's interface, showcasing the icon system and the FM Towns alternative with its meters. The article emphasizes that message text is not displayed during interactions, reinforcing the voice-driven approach. This page introduces the diverse cast of characters featured in 4th unit for the Mega CD. It divides them into the protagonist side and the enemy side, Einheit. On the protagonist side, we meet Bronwyn, the game's main character, and BSOM01. Other key figures include Daljeet, BSOM02, Takizawa Etaro, a former SCLAS agent now with the UN, Echu Yuji, a genetics expert involved in BS development now running a UN lab, and Zero Sanucleon, an original BS who escaped the Unified Army and is also now linked to the UN Information Department. The descriptions provide insights into their backgrounds and roles. The enemy side introduces the organization Einheit, described as too charming for villains. Their leadership consists of Uken Rai, the ruler operating from the massive Kaiserberg fortress, and Dash Hauer, his capable second-in-command. The core of Einheit is the RT-12 group, 12 individuals selected for their intellect and abilities gained after mutation, regardless of race or age. Einheit aims for global unification using any means necessary, currently controlling areas like Canada and the UK, and utilizing a powerful weapon called the Strong Beast Attack Weapon GR. The page also includes a character relationship chart, illustrating connections between characters from both factions, such as friendships, romantic relationships, and professional links like assistants and seniors. This page features a preview of Compile's upcoming Mega CD title, Robo Alesti. Currently 60% complete and targeting a late September release, the game sees development proceeding with a focus on visuals, though gameplay elements like additional weapons are still in progress, according to a demo shown at a toy show where only Stage 1 was playable. The power-up system retains the familiar chip collection mechanic from previous Alesti titles. The story centers around a conflict between brothers. Stage 1 specifically depicts the confrontation between Tetsumaru, who pilots Robo Aleste, and his brother who killed their master. Even if Tetsumaru is defeated in Stage 1, he will continue to power up and pursue his brother in subsequent stages. Stage 2 shifts the setting to the Tokai region during the Sengoku period, where battles against the Imagawa take place. The introduction of iron armor and flying ships from foreign arrivals is highlighted as changing the nature of warfare in this era. The page also teases a rival unit, showing concept art alongside Robo Aleste.
The reviewer expresses hope for continued smooth development.
This page focuses on Capcom Quiz Tonkano-sama no Yabu for the Mega CD. While rooted in the familiar arcade quiz game, this Mega CD version takes it a step further by incorporating a simulation element. You play as a Sengoku period warlord, expanding your territory and aiming to unite Japan by correctly answering quiz questions. The Mega CD release enhances the experience with new minigame events that trigger throughout the simulation, including action-oriented challenges like horse archery and luck-based diversions such as fortune slips and shell games. Currently reported at 70% completion, the game also supports two-player simultaneous play. The page also touches on other upcoming Mega CD titles, mentioning Mahjong Gambler Jiko Chushinha 2, Merry-Go-Round, and a Rank Thunder, showcasing concept art for the latter. This page features the Thunderbirds Go Go column, a regular feature offering tips and answering reader questions about Mega Drive games. One segment tackles Alicia Dragoon, where a player cleared the game and discovered a salamander rank not listed in the manual. The magazine confirms this is a Super A rank, intentionally hidden by GameArt's developers who expected few players to achieve it. The column also clarifies the difference between Magic User and Beastmaster ranks depends on the number of power attacks used. A screenshot shows the ranking screen, and a table lists the Super A rank titles, including Ifrit and Salamander for Magic User and Phoenix Master and Griffin Master for Beastmaster. A short review hails Alicia Dragoon as a legitimate masterpiece. Another section addresses a request for help in Rent a Hero regarding a garbled memo. The response provides a detailed explanation and diagram for decoding the message, which involves reading in specific patterns to reveal a location to find a pistol needed to resolve the case. Finally, a player asks for help with the boss, Guyzak, in Super Hydlide. The magazine acknowledges the request and states the rescue will appear in the next issue, perhaps coinciding with the Mega Drive release. The column concludes by inviting readers to submit their own questions for MD, MD, CD, and Game Gear games. This page is part 3 of the B Mega Hot menu, featuring a detailed guide for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, including circuit strategies and game modes. This page continues the B Mega Hot menu guide for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, diving into specific circuits. It provides detailed breakdowns and strategies for navigating several rounds of the game. Circuits covered include Round 3 San Marino, known for its lack of true straights requiring constant subtle steering adjustments. Round 4 Monaco, a highly technical course where careful driving is paramount to avoid crashing. Round 5 Canada, featuring tight hairpins and a mix of corners. Round 7 France, a generally high-speed track with tight hairpins requiring braking. And Round 8 Great Britain, characterized by multiple straights connected by low-speed curves. The guide offers specific advice for each circuit, such as recommended gears for certain corners, braking points, and techniques to avoid going off track. Each section features a map of the circuit layout and a corresponding gameplay screenshot illustrating the track. Finally, there is a section titled Welcome to Senna GP, focusing on the Austria circuit, described as challenging with significant elevation changes, and includes a photograph of Ayrton Senna himself alongside a screenshot of that track. The guide emphasizes practice and mastering the unique challenges of each course. This guide continues the B Mega Hot menu for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, detailing more circuits. Belgium, Round 11, balances low-speed corners with a long straight. Italy, Round 12, is high speed, allowing for mostly 7th gear driving. Portugal, Round 13, is technical, similar to Spain, with key hairpin turns. Japan, Round 15, is surprisingly technical, requiring careful braking. Australia, Round 16, permits top gear driving, except for the final corner. A kart course is also described, emphasizing braking and downshifting. The guide ends with a developer's praise of Senna and the game's importance in the racing genre. The next page dives into Dyna Brothers, a deep simulation game for the Mega Drive. This title, developed by CSK, puts players in control of dinosaurs battling invading aliens, using the power of the egg to reclaim their land. The core strategy revolves around producing grass-eating dinosaurs from the egg. They are the primary source of power. However, simply increasing numbers isn't enough. Players must strategically manage their population, especially the powerful carnivorous dinosaurs, which can turn on friendly grass eaters if they become too numerous. The page highlights the importance of using commands like rain to help grass grow and lightning strike to quickly hatch eggs under threat. It warns specifically about the dangers of overpopulation and the cannibalistic tendencies of the carnivores, including the Paichan unit, which hunts enemy eggs but might eat friendly ones if none are available. This isn't a simple button-mashing game. It requires careful planning and technique.
The game is strictly a single-player experience.
This page continues the detailed look at Dino Brothers, focusing on more advanced tactics. It delves into using the powerful disaster commands effectively. The flood command is highlighted as easy to use but requires significant power and leaves you vulnerable. Other commands include drought and earthquake, which require less power than flood but still have strategic uses like wilting grass or destroying enemy eggs. The most powerful is the meteor command, demanding 8,000 power, which causes widespread fire and destruction, affecting enemies, eggs, and the environment. But it's dangerous and requires careful consideration, as the enemy can also use these abilities. The page also notes the aliens are incredibly persistent. Clearing a single map by eliminating all aliens is just one step, as they invade other areas, requiring all maps to be cleared for true peace. The reviewer expresses that the game is deeply addictive the more you play it, finding the enemy dinosaurs surprisingly cute despite their nature, although it is frustrating when they eat your eggs. An egg modification command is mentioned, allowing you to change egg types using radiation. A message from the developer suggests the game has a subtle charm and substance that appeals even to those who dislike games, promising more enjoyment after purchasing. This page kicks off with a look at Game Gear titles for July 1992, highlighting new releases like Olympic Gold and Phantasy Star Adventure. First up is Olympic Gold, based on the Barcelona 92 games.
This is a classic button-mashing sports game in the vein of Konami's earlier hit. The review notes the content is refined, but the core intense button-mashing gameplay remains the same. It scores well in game balance, a versus aspect, and longevity, 4 each. But operability gets a 3. The reviewer praises the beautiful graphics and character animation but is disappointed you can't choose the Japanese team. Screenshots show archery and pole vault events. Next is a preview of Phantasy Star Adventure, an upcoming RPG spin-off. The review shows off screenshots of the command-based gameplay, character portraits, and dialogue scenes. Development saw many changes, resulting in it feeling almost like a new game. It features a command-based RPG system and updated graphics compared to earlier Phantasy Star titles, taking advantage of the Game Gear's capabilities. The page also shows a portrait of the new heroine, teasing her appearance. This page continues the look at new Game Gear releases. First up is Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, a racing title. Following the success of the previous game, this sequel shows significant graphical improvements and focuses on a more natural driving feel rather than just raw speed. It allows for detailed car settings including chassis adjustments, which is a key feature. Screenshots show the racing action and the car setup screen. Next is the GG Shinobi Part 2, the anticipated sequel to the popular action game. While details on the ancient sound are still unconfirmed, the game system allowing players to change weapons and ninja arts by swapping companions remains similar to the original. Screenshots depict the classic platforming gameplay the series is known for. Finally, we see Faceball 2000, described as a peculiar maze-type shooting game that received good reviews overseas on PC. This title marks the first Gear game to utilize 3D display, allowing for strategic use of the complex maze terrain to hide and attack. Players control the smiling Faceball characters. The review highlights the possibility of 2-player versus play, which was a feature of the PC version. Screenshots show the simple yet distinctive 3D maze graphics and the character designs. A vertical section on the right appears to be a GG hotline, briefly mentioning a TV game service starting in February, and test rentals for games like Pro Yaku 92. This page features an in-depth look at the popular software, Star Trek. 25th Anniversary. Presented as a key title for the TerraDrive's communication and PC capabilities, this adventure game is based on the beloved Star Trek series. The review highlights the game's impressive VGA graphics, which are described as surpassing standard television quality, and its easy-to-use mouse control. Key gameplay elements include exploring planets based on missions, interacting with characters like Mr. Spock who makes an appearance, and engaging in real-time combat sequences. The animation for iconic Star Trek moments, such as warp travel and beaming, is praised for realistically depicting these scenes and enhancing the atmosphere. The article suggests the game is accessible and enjoyable for both dedicated Star Trek fans and newcomers. Screenshots showcase various aspects of the game, from space battles involving the Enterprise to on-planet exploration and combat. This page focuses on new software releases available for DOS/Versus systems, highlighting titles that leverage the capabilities of the platform. Featured prominently is SimCity Deluxe from Imagineer, a popular city simulation game that includes extra scenarios, and the terrain editor, noted for its improved graphics and mouse control, making it easy to play. Next is Life and Death by Aero Microtech, a unique medical simulation where players take on the role of a surgeon, diagnosing illnesses, and performing operations. The article touches on the challenge of managing staff and the intense pressure of the job, suggesting it offers a realistic look at a doctor's struggles. Screenshots show a patient, surgical tools, and an internal view during a procedure. Finally, Koei's latest entry in the historical strategy series, Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness, is showcased. This DOS/Versus version features two distinct scenarios set in different periods of Japan's Warring States era, taking full advantage of DOS/V's display and mouse support for a comfortable experience. The page also includes a section on convenient peripherals, specifically highlighting the Thunderstick joystick. Described as ideal for simulation games, especially flight simulators, this sturdy controller requires a game card connection to the TerraDrive's AT slot, but promises excellent operability and includes suction cups for stable mounting. The reviewer notes it would be a great addition for simulation fans looking for precise control beyond keyboard inputs. This page delves into the history of TV games, specifically the sixth installment focusing on post-Invaders titles, particularly the lesser-known, minor games. The article discusses titles that followed the massive success of Space Invaders, but didn't achieve the same level of fame. Several games are highlighted, including Universal's Cosmic Gorilla, Sun Electronics' Third Planet, and Smonk's Yosaku. The text touches on why these games, despite aiming for a similar market, remained minor hits. Screenshots illustrate some of these games. One shows a formation of enemies reminiscent of Space Invaders, possibly Cosmic Gorilla. Another features a central planet-like object being attacked by enemies, which corresponds to the description of Third Planet, where the goal is to defend Earth. A third screenshot shows a different game, displaying a base with engines that can be damaged. The page also includes a photo of the circuit board for Sun Electronics' Third Planet, offering a glimpse into the hardware powering these early arcade titles. The article notes that this board design allowed for potential expansion and reuse for other games later on. This page focuses on Universal's 1979 title, Cosmic Gorilla, presented as a post-Invaders game. It features unique guerrilla tactics, with invaders approaching the central gun base from the sides, protected by layers of defense. The gameplay requires precise movement to defend the base, as the invaders can steal it if they reach it. A fast and unpredictable boss alien also appears, adding challenge. The article notes the game used a dedicated hardware board, powered directly by 100 volts, rather than being a modification of previous designs. Despite its interesting mechanics and full graphic display allowing per character color, the game's timing was off compared to the evolving market, leading it to be overshadowed by other post-Invaders titles. Screenshots show the game's title screen lacking the full name, various invader formations, the central base defense, and the boss alien encounter, highlighting the need for precise shots as bullets aren't shown until impact. A photo of the circuit board is also included. This page covers Sunk's 1979 arcade game, Yosaku. The article notes the game's connection to a popular song and character of the same name from that era, suggesting its popularity was likely tied to this cultural phenomenon. Players control the lumberjack Yosaku, with the primary goal of cutting down trees. The game features charmingly rudimentary graphics, described by the reviewer as being like graffiti. Gameplay involves felling trees while avoiding hazards, such as branches falling from the sky which can stun Yosaku, and charging pigs, highlighted as the game's main enemy. The reviewer expresses disappointment with the actual gameplay content,
finding it completely uninteresting and simple despite the initial appeal of the character. Technical details are briefly mentioned, including the Z80 CPU and memory setup, along with a note about a cabinet price from a period price list. Screenshots display the title screen with player options and score tables, and gameplay scenes showing Yosaku interacting with trees and encountering a pig enemy. The article laments the game's basic nature compared to more complex titles emerging around that time. This page delves into obscure variations of the 1979 arcade game, Yosaku, referred to here as Yosaku and Gonpei, and Yosaku and Donpei. The article notes that the manufacturer of these versions is unknown and speculates they were created by copycat companies using modified Space Invaders arcade boards, taking advantage of the original Yosaku's fleeting popularity. Gameplay is described as a simplified shooting game, almost identical to Space Invaders, but with the player character, Gonpei, not Yosaku in these versions, shooting at descending formations of birds rather than aliens. Screenshots show the title screen, with scoring details, and multiple gameplay screens depicting Gonpei at the bottom of the screen, firing upwards at birds arranged in lines. Despite the cultural reference, the reviewer finds these games completely uninteresting, echoing the sentiment about the original Yosaku, suggesting they were merely a topic that quickly faded. This page from the Sega Cheat League features reader-submitted tips for Sega Mega Drive games. For Isle Lord, a cheat code, ABCCBABACACB, entered at the title screen cancels random battles, allowing players to experience the story unhindered. The effect persists through saves. Screenshots illustrate the game's look. The second featured game is Shining Force. A duplication trick lets players put an item like a Valkyrie or white ring in the leftmost inventory slot during battle. Dropping it in the top slot causes a copy to appear in the shop, enabling item duplication. Screenshots demonstrate this. The page also details prizes for cheat submissions, including gift certificates. Instructions on submitting cheats via postcard are provided, specifying the necessary game details, cheat information, and contact address. This page is all about connecting with the readers, featuring a fantastic giveaway for the August 1992 issue. The main prizes include the chance to win your choice of any Sega Mega Drive or Game Gear software released up to the end of July 1992, a signed board from the cast of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms CD drama, an original soundtrack CD for the excellent Shoot 'em Up Twinkle Tale, a commemorative phone card for Satoru Nakajima F1 Hero, and even copies of the French Mega Drive magazine Mega Force. There are varying numbers of winners for each prize, totaling over 50 lucky fans. Entry requires using the magazine's survey postcard, with a deadline of August 8th. Beyond the giveaway, an information section reflects on the magazine's history, noting it started 3 years prior as Beep, and has always maintained a close, fan-focused relationship with Sega and the Mega Drive, highlighting its independent spirit. There's also a dedicated phone line for reader questions, specifically about the magazine's content, operating on weekday afternoons. The page concludes by acknowledging the various staff and contributors who put the magazine together. This page showcases 2 exciting sports titles for the Sega Mega Drive, ready to test your skills and unleash your athletic potential. On the left, we have David Robinson basketball. The artwork features the legendary Admiral himself soaring for a dunk, capturing the dynamic energy of the sport. Screenshots show both a high-angle view of the full-court strategy and a closer look at the action under the basket. The text highlights the game's speed, thrilling gameplay, powerful dunks, and authentic basketball feel, with commentary from David Robinson himself adding to the realism. Dominating the right side is Olympic gold, celebrating the spirit of competition. The title is presented in bold gold lettering, with a focus on events from the Barcelona '92 Olympics. Visuals depict various track and field and swimming events, including shot put, hurdles, archery, and freestyle swimming. Screenshots demonstrate the different perspectives and gameplay styles for these diverse sports. The description emphasizes challenging 7 representative Olympic events and competing for glory against top athletes from around the world. Both games tap into the popular sports genre, promising competitive action on the Mega Drive. Sonic the Hedgehog makes a small appearance at the bottom, reinforcing the Sega brand presence. This page features a captivating full-page illustration for Dark Wizard, the revived Dark Mage, an epic fantasy strategy RPG for the Mega CD. The artwork depicts several central characters, including a blonde young man, a dark-haired woman, a blonde woman, and a mysterious cloaked figure, all set against a dramatic backdrop with mythical creatures like a griffin-like beast and a multi-headed dragon at the bottom. The header proclaims a step up in expression and a moving experience, promising something beyond the ordinary. Dark Wizard is announced as a September release for 6,800 yen, utilizing the capabilities of the Mega CD disc format. The premise revolves around the revival of dark power threatening a peaceful nation, and the rise of heroes with holy proof to combat it. The game boasts epic, character-specific storylines, and utilizes the Mega Kid's capacity for full animation processing to deliver emotional visual expressions, and a multi-scenario game system. Screenshots show tactical battles with different unit types. Below the main game feature, there are brief mentions of the Mega Drive Plus One bundle, which includes Sonic the Hedgehog and hardware options for playing Mega CD titles. The Mega CD attachment priced at 49,800 yen, and the all-in-one Wonder Mega console at 79,800 yen. Dark Wizard looks to be a visually rich and story-driven experience, leveraging the power of the Mega CD. This page is an advertisement for the Mega Drive game Caesar's Palace from Micronet, released in 1992 for 8,800 yen plus tax, featuring Julius Caesar and Roman themes. This page features the game Ambition of Caesar II from Micronet. The large illustration depicts Roman figures, including who appears to be Julius Caesar with his hand raised, alongside soldiers, against a backdrop of weathered text and a golden eagle statue, giving a sense of epic history. The text highlights the game as a full-scale real-time war simulation, the second in the series, focusing on Caesar's ambition, glory, and history. It features a quarter-view screen offering a realistic representation of battlefields and terrain, a variable window system allowing players to customize the on-screen information, and a real-time battle mode that even includes a two-player simultaneous battle mode where the screen is split. The game screenshots show the tactical map view and the split-screen battle view, illustrating the detailed presentation and the simultaneous gameplay feature. This looks like a deep strategy game focusing on the historical era of Caesar. This page features the iconic title art for Technosoft's legendary shooter, Thunder Force IV, known internationally as Lightning Force: Quest for the Dark Star. The massive, gleaming logo dominates the page, set against a backdrop of the game's action. The page also includes an announcement for the Thunder Force IV original soundtrack CD. This limited press release, limited to 3,000 copies at a price of 2,500 yen, features all game tracks plus arrangements, bringing the game's powerful soundscape to life. Ordering details via postal transfer are provided. Additionally, Technosoft is looking to expand their team, seeking programmers, sound creators, and graphic designers. Contact information for job inquiries is listed, along with the company's address and phone number. The page ends with a copyright notice for 1992 Technosoft. This page announces the release of Technosoft's highly anticipated shooter, Lightning Force: Quest for the Dark Star, known in Japan as Thunder Force IV. Dominating the center is stunning pixel art, depicting the game's protagonist ship and unique spherical enemies, showcasing the impressive visual fidelity the series is known for. Bold Japanese text proclaims, "A new legend is born," setting the stage for this iconic title. Below the artwork, the release date is clearly stated as July 24, 1992, along with the price of 8,800 yen, excluding tax. This served as a direct confirmation and promotional piece for fans eagerly awaiting the next entry in the legendary Thunder Force series on the Genesis/Mega Drive. This page is dedicated to the Game Gear title, Olympic Gold, which is tied into the Barcelona 92 Olympic Games. The main artwork features various athletes competing, alongside the official Barcelona 92 logo. The game lets you compete in 7 different Olympic events, including the 100-meter sprint, 200-meter freestyle swimming, 110-meter hurdles, pole vault, hammer throw, diving, and archery. You challenge top athletes from around the world, aiming for the gold medal. The game supports name input, and up to 4 players can compete for records by taking turns. Screenshots show examples of the hammer throw, swimming or diving, and archery events. Olympic Gold was scheduled to be released on July 24, 1992, with an estimated price of 3,800 yen. The page also includes a smaller advert on the right side, promoting the Game Gear console itself and the TV tuner pack accessory. This page serves as a special appendix from the August 1992 issue of BeepMD, featuring a collection of vibrant artwork likely intended as stickers or promotional material. You'll find art from several games, including the protagonist of Wonder Dog, a platformer known for its detailed animation. There's also a colorful piece featuring cartoon dinosaurs, which appears to be from the puzzle game Dino Land. Naturally, Sonic the Hedgehog is prominently featured with two different illustrations. One classic pose from the original game, and another showing him with a jukebox, possibly hinting at the music capabilities or upcoming release of the Mega CD. Additionally, there is beautiful artwork from the Lunar series, a classic RPG franchise by Game Arts and Studio Alex, strongly associated with the Sega CD platform. The page highlights that some of the art is intended for room cartridges and Mega CD, marking this as a treat for Sega fans at the time. This page is a plain, light yellow sheet, devoid of any content, acting perhaps as a separator or the reverse side of a previous page.